What is up, everybody? Welcome to TnTTV's Premium 2v2 Spectacular. I'm your host, Delthius, and joining me on the desk here, we've got Mr. AV Ultima. How's it going, my man?
It's going well. Thanks for having me once again. I'm excited for this.
Dude, it's always a pleasure casting with you, man. Yeah, I'm hyped. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout. While we're waiting here, I can show the bracket. I think if I press this button. There we go. Okay. So, we've got Gentle Pork versus Holy Glass in the top. Let me take a look at my name, my cheat sheet of who's on the team. So Gentle Pork is Chip and Arbuzz, names that you're quite familiar with, I'm sure, Ultima.
Oh, of course. Yeah, they've been teaming forever now. They love those 2v2s. I've met them in bracket myself once or twice.
Yeah, they're pretty good, man. I think they're one of the favorites. That's a pretty hardcore team. You've got Jacoby and Jed Erickson, Iris and Doohoo. You've got Kalaru in here. There's a lot of competitive people in this tournament, so it's kind of hard to say who's gonna win per se. But Gentle Pork and Arctic Assault, in my opinion, are looking pretty good. But looking at the bracket here, let me make sure my OBS is correct. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we've got Chip and Arbuzz and Gentle Pork, and they're going to face off against Holy Glass, which is Mansuyo and Sirius. I think they're a couple newer players, so maybe they can pull an upset out there. And the match that we're going to be streaming for round of 8 is going to be Constant Overaggression versus LEGTY. I don't know how to say that name, like Legtui. I think they tried to...
Legtui, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they combined Lego Man and this guy. So that's the kind of the top of the bracket here. In the lower part of it, we've got Arctic Assault, which is another pretty titanic team here with Jacoby and Jed Erickson, and they're gonna face off against Team Thick Boys Incorporated, which is Echeverria and ACD Eclipse. And then we've got the Splitters, which are Iris and Doohoo, another very powerful combo for 2v2s versus What the Fox, which is Slice of Gnome and 20 XP. So really hyped, man. We've got 5 custom maps for the tournament. So the community kind of said, after the last event, we want a solid 2v2 competitive tournament, man. So we tried to deliver with this, and we reached out to the map editors in the community. And I'm really pleased with the results. We've got a lot of really good-looking maps, so it's going to be good. I think this is the second custom map tournament. Jed Erickson and I did a 1v1 custom map tournament that was a lot of fun as well. So, looks like we've got one member from both of the teams in there. And I think they're just...
Yeah, in the past, we've usually done a 2v2 tournament or something that's more different in 1v1, but I like how you've combined a custom tournament and a 2v tournament in one to sort of hit all the levels.
It's been a while since we've had a solid 2v2 tournament, man. And I come back to the Oktoberfest way back in the day, man, that Clash of Comrades did. That was a ton of fun. Let me get... we did a 2v2 tournament pretty recently with the Gentleman's Bazaar tournament, but that had a lot of bans and, free-for-alls involved and stuff. It was indeed a Bazaar tournament, so it wasn't quite, like a standard 2v2 format like this. Let me go ahead and update my player names here.
Yeah, speaking of bans, in the past when we've done 2v2 tournaments, we've usually always had to ban... the usual double mole. Cannot do that, but I don't believe I've seen that in the rules. Do you believe what kind of strats do you think we'll be seeing that might try to exploit the idea that we have 2 players on each team now?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. We actually talked about banning moles, but the modern moles are so much different than the moles previously when we did have to ban them in 2v2 events. So I think the consensus, especially from guys like Premium Bo who play a lot of 2v2, is you don't necessarily need to ban it. I think a 5-farm Warren opening or just keeping up with your scouting or having an MG or something is enough to deal with the mole aggression. I think it's still viable, but if it's something that if you scout it out, you can deal with it. Back in the day with the old school moles, the issue was you could scout it out, you could identify it, and then you could still get run over by it.
Exactly. It's good to see it. It always sucks to have to ban a completely a whole unit from a game like Tooth and Tail.
Right. Hopefully the levels are good in the chat. If anybody in the chat could let me know, I appreciate it. I am on a 2-minute delay here to prevent any kind of stream sniping, you know, looking at deck compositions and stuff, but we got a bunch of virtuous nerds in the scene, so I doubt that would be an issue anyways. But yeah, big shout out, man, to everybody who helped put this together. This is the first, I've done a lot of tournaments with Tooth and Tail, but I've always just been the guy like on the desk casting and doing the replay, doing the analysis and stuff. So this is the first one I've ever actually organized, but saying I organized is a little bit of a stretch. Really, Premium Bo 426, aka P-Boop, did a lot of work to get this together. He's been coordinating with the teams, with the custom map makers, helping them iterate into some good products. And man, I tell you what, I'm really impressed with the maps we got. I was kind of worried that we would have to, you know, we'd get some submissions and be like, these aren't very good. But no, all these maps are really cool in their own way. We have a good variety of a couple aggressive maps, a couple macro maps. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out here.
Yeah, ever since the editor was released, even on the private branch, people have been really grinding it out, checking for bugs, and we've really gotten some talented people in the community.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a whole... I wish I was one of those guys, man. I've always flirted with the idea of doing it, but there's a unique kind of person who just loves making maps, you know, and whatever game it is, you know, Brood War, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, like most RTS games have custom map editors, so it's really cool to see some of those people that are passionate about it kind of flock into Tooth and Tail, or even just players who are already in the scene giving it a try. Have you messed around? I personally haven't messed around with it at all. Have you ever tried making a map?
When it was first released, I did some checks, see if there were any crashes, but beyond that, I haven't had a chance to really delve deep. It's a pretty complicated system. You can do a lot of really interesting stuff with it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We'll see that here, especially on Desert Fort. There's some like neutral barbed wire and things of that nature that are pretty sweet. But it looks like, all right, we're getting into it. We successfully bought enough time for the players to get ready. Let me make sure everything looks good on my end. I'll be trying to keep an eye on the chat. Chat is saying levels sound good. So, I believe we are... the child, do it! Oh my god, the child, do it. He's teasing me. The 5 tier 3 pick. So it's... Okay, Lego and this guy are together, and Kalaru and the child are together. Kalaru really likes artillery. Here we go, guys. Let's hop into game number 1. Hopefully we don't have lag. Got a little bit of red plug right at the beginning. Uh-oh.
Okay. Oh.
I think we're... Are we stabilizing? All right, looks like we stabilized. On the left, we've got team Constant Over Aggression, and their opponents to the right, we've got this guy and Lego Man. Now, this map is the Pleasure of the Pork Prince, and it's kind of interesting. Tell me your first reactions to this map as the early game starts kicking in.
My first reactions is all this high ground to the left. I'd be surprised if any of the players actually use that, because, you know, all the cabins will take out some of your supply, and I mean, that high ground is just so dangerous looking to fight on. It looks very awkward.
Yeah, and one thing too is the expansion bases over in like the 9 o'clock and the 12 o'clock can be under fire by that cabin a little bit, at least a couple of the farms there. But I don't think that'll be as big of an issue as it feels like, because the cabins are pretty easy to clear. But the big thing on this map is right where Kalaru is building his warrens. You know, if you can kind of secure this middle high ground, you're in a really good shape. Yeah,
I'm worried about that. That's some pretty close high ground, as you said, right next to this guy's base. And if they do get a hold of that high ground, they can just siege from that area, and it'd be hard to push up. And, you know, Lego Man putting a MG on the low ground, which is interesting. I don't know if that'll actually do much, to be quite honest.
Oh, but as you say that, it might... Well, okay, Kalaru's moving around. I was going to say, I agree, that's not ideal placement, but it almost like just happened to work with this lizard attack. But no, Kalaru's going all the way around the back. Meanwhile, there's a skirmish in the middle of the map, and very nicely done lizard harassment here by Kalaru, running all the way around and hitting those back farms. And here we go. Now we're seeing the turrets really where they should be, up on that high ground.
Yeah, not only am I curious to see how the unit compositions sort of meld together, I really want to see two frontal attacks like we just saw there. Kalaru was going around hitting the back while the child held the front, and that was a really good move by them.
All right, it looks like yellow and green are starting to really secure this high ground area here, starting to get that gristmill. They got a lot of defense in Lego Man's deck here, so he's got a balloon on the way, he's got some turret. Just one or two pieces of barbed wire here to kind of choke off the sides of the gristmill might not be bad, but even like a line like in front, it's kind of expensive, but it still could do some pretty good work. And let's see, army composition, it's still kind of a tier 1, tier 2 game. The tier 2 units just now starting to spawn out. The child really not wanting to let this defense get established on the front line here.
Yeah, it's not too surprising to see something like this. A lot of the mills are so close together, and yeah, this is where ferrets really come into play, and they have balloons and barbed wire to sort of protect the ferrets, and now I see the child has his own, but he hasn't actually built a warren for them, unfortunately.
The ferret's at 1 HP. Kalaru really wants to get it, but nice micro from Lego Man, bringing it back at the last second there, keeping it alive, and gonna maintain some additional value. But here come the artillery cannon, Kalaru's kind of signature unit, as his group of lizards keep trying to find value. But over on the right, this guy's moving in with a skunk push, just kind of trying to poke and prod at each other.
See, this is a bit awkward now. One team has an artillery, the other team has ferrets, and we're gonna have some battle lines drawn here in a second if one team doesn't take over the other.
Yeah, I think Lego Man really wanted to get those ferrets in on that artillery cannon before it finished spawning, but now the artillery cannon is here, it's ready to go, and it's going to be a lot harder for the ferrets to come in and harass, especially when it's paired with that balloon to give it all the extra vision. Second.
And it looks like that artillery is going to be able to hit that corner farm, I think, so they're not going to be able to get a full 8 on that for a while.
Yeah, look at the range of that artillery cannon, man. It's essentially shooting all the way to the green player's balloon there, and second bases are starting to come out for red and blue. Looks like green and yellow want to kind of double down on this high ground position here, which I frankly don't blame them, but you know, when Premium Bo and I were kind of reviewing the maps together, one thing he pointed out is like, yeah, the high ground is really important, but there's so many campfires all around the map. Like you can still get a ton of economy that way, even if you lose this high ground. But the siege potential is really what I'm worried about here.
Yeah, I'm really happy that the maps are big enough that there are a ton of options for players to work around choke points, so that players aren't just stuck in one area, sort of getting attritioned for the entire game. And I like the control here. That's really awesome. The yellow player in the top was baiting the artillery shots, allowing him to get some shots with the ferrets onto the artillery.
Oh, that's super smart. I see what you're saying. Yeah, really good gameplay there. Very nice teamwork.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that is definitely
almost went down. 2 more ferret shots.
All right, it looks like Blue's kind of starting to sniff out what the plan is. Blue's going to hard engage up on this guy in the top, and meanwhile, Kalaru is using his pack of lizards to keep the ferrets at bay, protecting that artillery cannon. And man, to be honest, I'm not so sure who's in the lead here. I guess it feels pretty even. Take a look at the army value graph. It looks like Lego Man it has quite a bit to his name at the moment. All right, I'm kind of worried for green and yellow, though. They're doing a good job kind of taking this high ground. As I say that, the gristmill is now going to fall, but red and blue have expansions behind this, and green and yellow don't. You know, that's huge.
Yeah, they've sort of put all the resources into trying to take out this artillery and keep this line, but they really do have to go back and secure some economy before this gets worse. And now the pigs are going to start dying even more now.
Yeah, I think Lego Man might have went a little bit too hard on these back turrets here. A lot of just kind of soaking up food and not really providing for any return for him. And now he's in starvation. He's going to be forced to sell some things off and try to get some farms going. And I think slowly but surely this is looking good for red and blue. Yellow does have the Badger up. I'd almost like to see them maybe sell off the defense, give up the high ground, and maybe try to run around and engage where the artillery isn't, maybe? Like, the Badger Pigeon is a pretty strong army comp. Oh, but they both have it. Both teams have it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like Claro's doing a good job at keeping the opponents at bay. Just kind of moving around, you know, constantly changing positions with these lizards. Red and blue look like they want to hard engage over to the side, but they pull back for now. The big thing here are the Badgers in this engagement. You know, controlling those correctly. Snakes on the ground. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult here. I lose ya, AV? Looks like Kalaru is moving in. He finally found, yeah, he just decided to go away from the high ground here and just attack the main base of his opponents. And Yellow is trying to follow suit with his Badger, a little bit of a base race scenario. And Kalaru just looking to win the game for his team, knocks out Lego Man. I think Ultima disconnected, maybe? I'll have to check with him after this match. And Kalaru's looking to just win the game right here. I think he's going to be able to do it in time. Oh, man. The child gets knocked out. If that was Kalaru getting knocked out, that would have been sick. But Kalaru ends up putting a point on the map for his team over aggression. Constant over aggression, I should say. Alright, what's the next map? Okay, next map is Law and Order. Yeah, I think AV had some... AV is offline on Discord, so he must have had an internet issue or something. So I will just keep trucking on my own. No big deal. Okay, quickly. Constant over. Boom. Point on the board. Hope everybody's having a good time. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Looks like the players are about ready to hop into the next match. Alright, a little bit of lag again, but it cleared up last game, and I think it will here as well. On the left, we've got team Constant Over Aggression. Up 1 point, and their opponent to the right, looking to Y or something. Lego Man and this guy comboed. Now, this map is really cool. It's by Illuminatus, and I like it because it looks pretty organic overall. Like, it looks like it could be a randomly generated TNT map, and then you look closer and it's quite symmetrical. Looks like we got AV back. Are you here, man?
Yeah, I didn't realize I went out there. I thought it was you that went out.
Uh-oh. I hope it wasn't
So I
me.
just started casting.
Oh
well.
We both were like waiting on the queue for the. All right, now it's your turn to talk, dude. Like, where are you? All right, so we got some mole shenanigans here.
Hi, excellent. This is what we expected, at least from one player. Did they both run moles? Yeah, they did. I wonder if we're gonna see Kalaru come in at some point to start putting down his own.
Kalaru looks like he's going to reinforce with some lizards here. This did get spotted by this guy, and this guy went for a 5-farm double to try to deal with this. He got one squirrel out. He really's got to keep this squirrel alive. It's very, very key. Nice micro from this guy. He manages to pull it back and keep it alive. But here comes Kalaru with the lizards. But the child just gave up on his mole rush and sold off his units. No, he baited Kalaru into a bad engagement there. This is a nice start for our underdogs here that are down 0-1.
Huh, yeah, it looks like they could have done some damage there if the child kept his moles in there, but I guess he decided to pull back and fought against it. But unfortunately, Claro lost, I think, 2 lizards there in that attack.
Yeah,
For
2
nothing.
lizards from Kalaru and I think a mole from his teammate, and nothing was lost for this guy. Meanwhile, Lego Man snipes a pig with a little bit of a lizard run by, but we got another skirmish up here at the top of the map. Pushing forward is the child, however, it's into a 1v2. Kalaru is not here, but Kalaru's in the back, stabbing Lego Man and killing almost all of his farms. Monumental damage here from our red lizard player.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to see last, in these 2v2 games. Taking these fights to 2 fronts, splitting up units, and getting run-bys like that. These maps are big enough for that to happen, and, man, a lot of farms going down for Lego Man.
Yeah, another skirmish in the top. Meanwhile, Lego Man trying to return the favor, do a little bit of backstabbing of his own with some lizards here. At the same time, though, the child is pushing forward, but I think that attack's going to get held. I'm really more interested in this attack here in the bottom. I mean, Lego Man just killed off, like, all the farms of the child.
Yeah, no more farms for the child, so all those units that you see fighting yellow right now is all he's got, and he's losing them heavily to the pigs, now losing them to the lizards. And now the child has 2 squirrels to his name, 1 squirrel now. He's probably going to have to sell off his warrens to get his farms back. Otherwise, he's gonna starve out.
To the gentleman, aka Pickpocket in Twitch chat. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Let me know what you think of these custom maps. All right, so we've got Kalaru moving in, trying to get some high ground. I mean, both teams have kind of taken some hits here and delivered some punches. I think green and yellow should be ahead, though, because the child lost, like, all of his farms, and Lego Man was able to stabilize after he got flanked,
Yeah, that was a pretty great counterattack. He ended up not losing many lizards in the initial farm loss, so he just ended up counterattacking when the child lost all his lizards to the initial farm harass. So it was a great response.
Second base being placed down by this guy, and they're moving forward with a nice squizzard composition. Gonna start this engagement 2v1. The child really doesn't have any forces to help his teammate out with. All the squirrels from this guy pushing forward. Nice target fire, doing some real damage, but is it gonna be enough to just straight up end the game? I'm not sure, but he's definitely done some crippling damage, but here come the lizards from the Lego Man. I think they've realized, you know what, the child's crippled. If we can just knock him out, put this into a 1v2, we basically won from there.
Luckily, Claro has a skunk of his own to potentially push this back, but now this guy has one, so looks like they're tied in tier 2, so this is a bit of just a war of attrition at this point. Just Claro just trying to keep his teammate from dying, get as many squirrels as he can. It looks like the child's gonna have to sell off another warren, otherwise he's just gonna starve in 30 seconds.
Another engagement moving forward on the top here. Skunk for skunk action going on. A couple of the skunks are now about to start falling here. 1 loss from both sides, but meanwhile, Lego Man again. This time he decides, no, I'm not going to finish off the child. I'm just going to come in here. Oh, you know what? I think he killed the warrens. The child's just going to starve out. He can't do anything. He's done. Oh, but is Lego Man going to get the kill before child starves is the question. That's what we really need to know. And he barely does.
At 2 seconds.
All right, we got a series on our hands here, Mr. Ultima. Looks like we should be going to game 3. I mean, unless Kalaru's a miracle worker, 1v2 is very hard to deal with. Kalaru doing what he can, but getting backstabbed by all the lizards. That's going to be it. We're going to head to match number 3 here.
Yeah, those lizard run-bys aren't too bad, but when you end up losing almost your entire force in it, you're susceptible to a counterattack if the person you're attacking didn't lose any units, and that's exactly what happened there, and that just left him pretty much dead throughout the entire match.
All right, our last map is going to be Desert Forts. Let me make sure to put this in the announcements because the general channel is going crazy. Boom, there we go. Okay, hopefully Premium Bo. I have my trust in Premium Bo, man. I haven't been watching the behind-the-scenes stuff much. Hey, Amari's in the chat. Yes, these are custom maps. We have a custom map pool of 5 maps for the 2v2 tournament. And round of 8, round of 4, we have it set up where both maps, or all the maps should have a little bit of exposure. And then the bronze match and the grand final are going to be like a veto system to determine what maps are going to be played. But all right, we're going into match number 3 of the round of 8 on Desert Fort. Let's see which one of these teams comes out on top. They look really evenly matched, man.
Yeah, even in moments where, even the last game, the one side looked totally out of it, they were still holding and fighting strong. I think this last game is going to be quite the slobber knocker, considering that entire north side of the map is covered with cabins. We're going to have, like, just a bunch of frontal attacks.
Yeah, this is kind of a pretty interesting map here, as it's called Desert Fort. As you guys will notice when we load in, there's basically a big fort up in the top of the map of a lot of gristmills and cabin and barbed wire. And I'm curious to see, hold that thought, as we get into this. Match number 3 in the round of 8. Spawning on the left, we've got Claro and the Child on team Constant Overaggression. And their opponents to the right, this guy and Lego Man on Legatoy. I don't know. Legatai? Legatoy? I think that's their team name.
Legtoy.
You got it. You got Mr. Ultimo with the save here. So yeah, this map's really cool because it's like, do you try to expand down this V, you know, or are you the team who's bold enough to try to conquer the fort up top? Because if you do get this fort, I mean, it's very nice. Couple of gristmills in there, cabins all around it. You can even opt, like, let's say you're on the left over here. You could take out the cabin and the barbed wire here, right, and then start taking these gristmills and then try to leave the other cabins closer to your opponent's side. Almost as like defensive structures.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If one team does decide to take off one of those side ones, they essentially get the fort for themselves, because then they can just place some units on the high ground, and as long as they don't get too close to those cabins, they pretty much have the entire thing. I'm curious to know if we're going to see any of the teams do an aggressive expand, let's say all the way to the middle, all the way to the southern base, and then they just end up having all the farms themselves.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. And one thing that's cool, too, I love this little trinity of rocks with the water in the middle. You got to keep in mind, guys, on the latest patch, the water heals you. So units like ferrets or a fox or even some lizards or something kind of poke in, use those rocks to, you know, kind of buffer and heal up and rinse and repeat. Like, all right, it looks like Lego Man's kind of curious about the fort, but doesn't commit to it just yet. We don't see anything crazy in these openings here. Both players just kind of macroing up. Let's see if... Yeah, here we go. I was going to say, let's see if anyone wants to take a gristmill. Looks like yellow is going to go ahead, and we'll just have to see how this game kind of goes from here.
Yeah, I bet it's going to be very similar to the first game, where we saw a lot of structures being pushed up one by one, and then sooner or later the structures meet themselves somewhere in the middle. And then it's going to come down to whoever decides to be the aggressor in that case. And it looks like Kalaru and the Child are going to opt to go for the middle base instead.
Yeah, Lego Man grabbing that gristmill, but Kalaru already trying to clear up some of this area. Losing a couple of units to these barbed wires definitely hurts here. But Kalaru's going to move in. Oh, and I don't think Kalaru was aware that Lego Man already had this gristmill, but now he knows. Oh, no, Lego Man's lizards.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was so painful. Like,
he ended up taking out the cabin. We lost all 6 lizards in the process.
Dude, like, if you've taken out the cabin, you can kind of path your units since you can walk over that campfire, you know? But since the cabin was still there and he was trying to rally through, they just all went through the barbed wire, and some real big losses there from Lego Man is allowing the red and blue team to kind of move into the fort up here.
Excellent move from Lego Man to scout and see that all their units are in the middle, but the Child in a great position to potentially defend either position if one decides to attack another. So he should be able to move his units over here now to defend his teammate. Minimal losses.
Lizard run by. Traded 3 lizards for a pig. Almost got a second pig. That would have been even better, but 3 lizards for a pig is just fine regardless. But I'm getting worried, man. Kalaru's setting up his signature arty cannon up here. Red and blue are moving in. I don't think they're messing around. They want to come in and maybe end this game right here, right now. We'll have to see how much they commit to this attack. They need to wait for that drumfire cannon to finish before they push the issue too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think, oddly enough, it was essentially this guy's units and Lego Man's structures versus blue there. I think the Child and Kalaru could have done some damage there, because at that point, this guy didn't have any units even rally to that location. Now they're just taking a defensive stance. And this honestly isn't too bad because now this guy and Lego Man can just take the southern bases, and now they're just fighting on two fronts.
Yeah, exactly. They don't really have to go up and deal with this fort. And I like this little bit of defense they have with the balloon and turret coverage. Oh, man.
There's no vision. Oh, no.
That's so beautiful. Nicely done by Lego Man. Getting a little bit of vision on the high ground now, but not going to be able to deal with this balloon. That balloon is in such a good position to deny units that are sitting up there on the high ground. And you're absolutely
they've almost created a choke point for themselves. So they have a great position in this fort, but they're definitely going to have to create a presence elsewhere on the map. Otherwise, they're just going to get starved out in here.
Man, really impressive. To be honest, I kind of thought Constant Over-Aggression had this in the bag after getting the fort, but with that balloon ferret combo to get the vision on that artillery cannon, this is a really big engagement coming out here. It's looking pretty good for red and blue, but not game-ending, I don't think. As long as they can keep continuing to defend these balloons. This balloon in particular is just getting so much value this game, and I think it's really important to note, as you were saying earlier, like, green and yellow can just take the rest of the map outside of the fort.
And the child should start looking to get his second base at some point. Probably needs to sell off some warrants to do so. If they get another engagement before that happens, though, he's going to be in a tough spot because he's going to lose a lot of food from that. And there you go. He takes the base.
Green and yellow moving forward. Want to push the issue again. They need to bait the engagement back a little bit to where the balloon can kind of help out. I like that he sold off that back balloon. Wasn't really doing anything there. I'd love to see another balloon up here, but you really can't afford it, so I understand why they haven't done it.
No, it really is unfortunate they lost that artillery. That was how much food is the artillery at this point? 180 or is it 240?
It's 180.
Yeah, that's 180 food, and it pretty much did nothing that game, and that just allowed the Lego Man and this guy to take this position. Now it's really hard for the other team to push into this choke.
Fox is out on the map.
Now with the Wolf coming out.
Oh, Fox and Wolf. Oh, from opposite teams though. Okay. So that's kind of interesting because the Wolf can help kind of counter the Fox since it speeds up your units and helps them get up on the Fox very quickly. Plus that balloon, it's going to make it hard for the Fox to come in and deal constant poking damage. And I think the Wolf is going to add more to the overall fight composition than the Fox will. But the Fox is going to get this nice safe high ground to start poking things down on. But is it going to be enough is the question.
Oh, no. Yeah, the Child sort of engaged way too early there, and Claro just did not come in until almost all the Child's units went down. So it was essentially a 1v2 fight into another 1v2 fight. Now they just sort of have no units left. But let's see how much the Fox can do here. Just sort of picking off units from the back.
Yeah, getting a couple shots down on the Falcons. Really nice value there for the Fox, but it's not going to be enough. That engagement wasn't amazing. As you were saying, it was kind of a 2v1 engagement and then another 2v1 engagement. And man, I'm still really blown away by that balloon ferret combo to take that artillery cannon down. That was so sick. And I think that's really what helped them win this game, to be honest. I mean, it's looking rough for red and blue.
Oh, for sure. And it's unfortunate, too, because at that point, you said, they got the fort. It's going to be hard for this guy and Lego Man to push into that, but they just didn't put the Artie in the best position and just ended up getting taken out.
Yeah, imagine if that...
Let's see if... they're both sort of starving at this point, so let's see what they end up doing here.
Yeah, the yellow and green's economy is starting to skyrocket through. They haven't really been... Their economy's really gone, like, completely unharassed this game. So they're in a great spot. Red and blue have to get something done. Claro trying to bob and weave with his Fox, but with these lizards, with the wolf buff units, they're going to catch the Fox. The Fox should go down. And with the Fox death might be the hopes of constant over-aggression in this tournament. As green and yellow push forward, and that, I believe, is going to be it. How'd you say their name? I don't know how I... Legtoy?
Leg toy?
Legtoy, yeah. Legtoy is going to advance to round of 4, and I need to figure out how to say that name, apparently.
That's canon, dude. No, it's Leg Toy.
Yeah, they're looking pretty damn good, man. I think that's a name I'm going to have to repeat later on in the tournament. So nicely done. Okay. Okay, let me see if the tournament's on fire. Okay. So, I think we need to wait for the rest of the matches to finish at this point. Let me take a look here.
Do we know who we're waiting for?
See, I want to do a match from the bottom side of the bracket, so either the splitters with Iris and Doohoo, or Arctic Assault with Jet and Jacoby. If those teams advance, I'm thinking that'll probably be the next match we watch.
I imagine they should be done very soon.
Yes, and okay. Let me see. Please report in when matches are done. Thanks, guys. Waiting on round of 4 matches from bottom of bracket. Will be next stream game. So, let me see if we can buy some time and talk about and show off these custom maps a little bit while we're waiting.
And during that game, we had a rating party of 9. So that's pretty cool from Magnusio.
Oh, thank you so much, man. He or she is one of the participants in the tournament. What team are they on? Let me take a look here. They are on Holy Glass. Oh, I think they were streaming their own match. So.
Oh, excellent.
That's probably what it was from. So, thanks for the raid, man. I always appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a good time in the chat. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and being a part of this. It's always a pleasure, always a blast to do this with everybody. Let me see, while we're waiting, let me just see if I can get some of these maps up so we can talk about them. So what's been going on with you, Mr. Ultima? You been doing all right?
Oh, yeah, pretty excellent, man. Just been developing my own game, actually.
Oh, cool. And what are you doing, in like Unity or something?
I'm doing it in Game Maker, actually. I've been using that for quite a few years now, so I've gotten pretty proficient at it.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I mess around with Unity a little bit. I kind of dabble in coding, you know, like, but I'm not... I get very humbled whenever I get that. I want to try to make a game bug, because it is quite difficult. That's awesome. What kind of game are you working on?
It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up with an emphasis on going fast.
Nice. Like, I think my favorite, when I was a kid, I played a lot of Gradius 3 on Super Nintendo. That was so much fun, man. You ever play any of the Gradius games?
I haven't played Gradius specifically, but I played a lot of shoot-'em-ups back in the day, especially when it was just Flash games or those random pixel art games that you downloaded from the internet or
right.
Who knows where.
That's awesome. Yeah, like on like Newgrounds or Albino Black Sheep. What were all those old school, early internet day Flash
Addicting
websites?
games,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Man, how am I not? Oh, is it under Community Hub? Okay, so Premium Bo is gonna let me. Oh, they're both ready. Well, then there we go. Okay, we're gonna go into Jet's game. Let me message Jet. I want to see some Jet Erickson.
Am I able to do a bit of a link spam in the chat, or will it ban me if I do that?
Absolutely, go for it. Let me know if it bans you. I hope it won't.
Alright, one message, that's fine. If anyone's interested in getting into some alpha testing for a game I've been working on for a few years now, head to that link, click connect, and join my Discord. I'll send you an alpha key.
Dude, send me one. Alright, sorry about the delay, guys. Trying to set up the next match here. Challenge says tournament hasn't started. Whoops. Hang on. Dude, I've never done the challenge thing. Bear with me. How do I...
So I fully expect these maps to continue to feature a lot of artillery, balloons, and ferrets. I think that was a big defining factor. And the artillery being such a volatile structure is that it's 180 food, it takes forever to build, but if you get it up, it's huge. But if you get it up in a terrible spot, as we saw last game, it's just 180 food just put into nothing, as we saw. And that could just go into many units instead.
Oh man, I wonder if I did not... Oh wait, here we go. We're showing match history now a little bit. Is the tournament started on challenge? I think so. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay. Woo. Alright, guys.
Yes, it has, yes.
And did the splitters win? Let me see. Let me contact Iris. Okay, so I believe the next match is going to be Arctic Assault versus the Splitters. And this is going to be awesome. We're going to have some of the best players in modern Tooth and Tail here on these teams. Jacoby, Jet Erickson, Iris, and Doohoo.
Exciting.
And let me make sure I got my maps correct. So, for the semifinals, which is where we're at, we're going to start things off on Tournament Island, a map that we haven't seen yet. So let me go ahead and get that set up. This is more of a macro map. It's kind of the only macro map we have in the map pool, really, to be honest. So I'm pretty hyped for it. Actually,
a big thing I noticed about the other maps compared to Tournament Island is that a lot of the expansions are extremely close together. So you end up having really early engagements. But here you have the water, which sort of separates the players artificially a bit. So you're going to see more lines drawn out in the field rather than next to mills.
Right.
So that might mean actually less structures in the battles because the mills are off to the sides instead of in the middle of the map.
Yeah, this was one of the maps before the tournament. Everybody was kind of practicing and derping around on the maps and stuff. So I got to play on this one, and it was a lot of fun, man. I was using lizards and doing all kinds of like sneaky flank, backstabby type things. Yeah, running through the water into the expansions and stuff like that.
This is not what I would expect when looking at this map because of the water. But I guess if you are sneaky enough and your other teammates distracting well, yeah, that can be a pretty great run by. Because if you're out in the middle of the map and you don't see the lizards come through that water, that's a lot of farms dead.
Yeah, it's exactly that. You feel like they kind of have this false sense of safety because you have this big moat around you. So you're like, oh, surely nobody would try to attack me through there, and then it happens, you know.
Oh, it happens, and don't call me Shirley.
That's right. So how far along is your game? Is it ready for testing now, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple testers here and there. I've showed off at several shows.
Sweet.
I intend to release sometime during the summer.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It looks like we're ready for the next match of the tournament here. So far, so good. We're making good on time, so I like that. We haven't had too many hiccups just yet. Players are deciding on their picks. Lots of Badger, Owl, a little bit of Fox.
Wow.
Here we go. Spawning in the top on Team Arctic Assault, we've got Jet Erickson and Jacoby. And their opponents in the bottom on the Splitters, we've got Iris and Doohoo.
Only one structure between all four players, and it's a balloon.
Yeah, Jet Erickson using the kind of classic try-hard standard competitive deck here with the balloon. And I like it. It's a good style. I think it's a deck that we saw Chip use against the Gentlemen in the previous Tooth and Tail League season grand finals. And it's pretty tried and true. And, you know, I'm kind of surprised we see the lack of moles here, but we see quite a few toads, and toads kind of help buffer against those moles, so... yeah, I'm curious to see how these guys want to start it out. Lots of tier 3 here. Lots of options for these players.
And that was a big thing I noticed too. 3 players here, 3 tier 3 or 2 tier 3 each.
Yeah, and that's pretty bold, man. It's not out of the question to take 2 tier 3, but sometimes, especially in this meta game where a lot of the tier 1 units are very, very strong, it's hard to fit like a single tier 3 in there. So getting 2 is a tall order, and I like the combos here as well. Like Badger Wolf makes a lot of sense. Owl Fox makes sense too. That Fox is kind of better in the early to mid game, and the Owl kind of scales better as the game goes later. And we're seeing players kind of play the map here and take some pretty early expands, and maybe we got a proper macro game on our hands.
No, yeah, as you said, before the match even started, that this did seem like a macro match, and that is a good chance that the players sort of feel the same way with all these tier 3s. And it's also funny that none of them are running the lizards, so all that hype.
Yeah, right?
Water run-bys aren't going to happen.
My little water lizards, amphibious lizards isn't going to happen this game. But, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Maybe they took the double tier 3s because it's this map. I mean, this map has a very long rush distance. This map has, reasonably safe access to a second and third base. So it's definitely one of those situations where you might be able to play with a lot of those fun tier 3 units.
I wonder what kind of timing that these guys are looking for, because this is the first game that we have not. That usually we see early engagements, but both teams already on their second mills and already putting farms on them. Jet Erickson going up to 5 on that one already.
Yeah, Jet Erickson's being very decisive and kind of aggressive with how he's macroing up. Doohoo's gonna get the scout on that, and that's rough, man, because that puts you in a situation where you either gotta match that greed or you gotta get in there and punish it. Because if not, Jet's economy is just gonna get out of control. Right now, he's farmed the most food out of any player on the map, but Iris and Doohoo kind of are following suit now. Now that they got the memo that Jet's trying to farm up very, very quickly, they're kind of doing the same.
Yeah, there's no Swift units from any of the players, so if one of them does, or one team does decide to commit to an attack, it's going to be a long walk. Well, but it looks like Duchu, is that how you pronounce his name? Duchu?
Yeah, I think it's Doohoo. He's
Doohoo.
I would think it's Duchu as well, but
excellent.
I've been told
like
it's Doohoo.
Sounds like Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, Yoo-hoo, classic. Now I want a Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, he's grabbing that fox now, so that sort of makes sense. Neither player's even looking to be aggressive, so if he gets that fox out pretty easily on the double badger from Jet, so man, both these players making mogul moves.
Yeah, that fox got thrown down first, but then a bunch of tier 3 kind of followed suit, and double badger, triple owl. What is even happening in this game? This is getting pretty bananas.
We've gone from tier 1 versus tier 3. I'm excited to see this. You don't see this often.
Yeah, and I think maybe the splitters might want to sell off a bit of their tier 1 and like trying to get more tier 3. Like the question is, how aware are the players? Iris is coming in for the scout now. I think that's enough squirrels to deny him. They already saw the double badgers get thrown down, but they're not seeing all the tier 3. Oh, as I say that though, he does manage to get in there, and he sees the additional tier 3 warrens. So the splitters know exactly what's going on. Meanwhile, I suppose we should check the vision of Arctic Assaults, and they've seen a couple tier 3 warrens, but not all of them. So both teams should be aware that this is going to like a hyper death ball scenario with a ton of tier 3s, and the Falcons are going to be very nice here, which unfortunately the splitters don't have access to.
Oh wow, you mentioning the Falcons is a good point. I noticed that Jope or Doohoo has no really air superiority, but Jet and Jacoby have both Falcons, so I think this is going to be a tough spot because Owls definitely reach a critical mass at one point, and if you can't effectively DPS them out, you're just sort of going to get melted away.
Yeah, and the Falcons are a very good unit to kind of deal with Owls in mass. Falcons like probably the only tier 2 unit in my opinion where it kind of makes sense. Like if you're going to skimp out on a tier 3, it makes sense to have Falcons, right? Because then you have a nice late game scaling potential by just building a lot of those Falcons. But nice little harassment on the side from Doohoo, manages to knock out a few of those farms, get out with Kasha safe and sound. But Doesn't look like Arctic Assault is messing around anymore. Here they come with an enormous army. Lots of tier 3, some toads. They're moving in, and they're going to say, we're going to determine this game right here, right now. The big engagement's moving forward. I wonder how the toads connect. A lot of skunk gas from both players, and the Badger Owl is going to be very, very strong in this engagement, but Iris has 2 Badgers. Iris has a Wolf. I wonder if that's going to be enough. One of the Badgers, I believe, went down for Jet. Man, he's really got it. If he can get that Wolf buff on the Fox and the Badger, like, either one of those units buffed up by the Wolf just gets absolutely insane. Now there's 2 Foxes on the board. If they could get those Wolf buffs, man, that would really, really help their team out at the moment.
Yeah, really the only thing that the Northern team's doing right now is taking out Warrens. They haven't really taken out any tier 3s. They're just sort of getting melted away. And I think this will just be a war of attrition at this point to who has the... Oh, man, and it looks like, yeah, because of the... Oh, and he gets back that Badger just in time. And it looks like because of the defensive advantage, they're going to be able to push them back pretty easily here. The Owl's not able to replenish those mice good enough, and they don't really have much DPS left.
The double Fox is doing surprisingly well, but I think the real hero of this engagement is this Badger. The Badger's constantly had that Wolf buff on it, which is absolutely insane. You know, the Badger already has such a strong DPS. You give it extra attack speed, and it just gets even crazier. So the tides have turned, and the Splitters are moving forward and looking to take match number 1 here.
Yeah, I think they were a bit too deathbally there. They sort of just moved into all the Warrens of Doohoo and sort of lost everything.
Yeah, and they realized
yeah, they just surrender right there.
Okay, let me figure out what the next map is before they ready up. Okay, we're going to Uneven Ground next, which is another map we haven't seen yet. We kind of determined a map order to try to show off all the maps as equally as we could. So let me update the scoreboard there. The Splitters with a point on the board. Very nicely done. So Uneven Ground's a pretty interesting map. I think this is... How do I explain it? Like, I feel it's more of the organic feel, right? Like, it seems like at first glance an RNG, you know, a map that could have been RNG. It's not particularly crazy or anything like that. There's a good amount of gristmills on it. There's a lot of attack paths, but it's generally kind of small, so we might see aggression. And now I'm curious what you were saying earlier, Ultima, if they picked all those tier 3 because of the map, you know, you wouldn't expect them to do that again here if that was the case.
Yeah, it's unlikely. All the bases are so close together. Yeah, we see Doohoo and Joe both picking ferrets, so I imagine we're going to see a lot of artillery this game.
Oh, really cool. Looks like they're trying to go for some kind of sieging composition here. And it looks like the teams are kind of finalizing their picks. Oh man, I really hope they go for this turret arty balloon style. It could work really well on this map because there's a lot of gristmills that are kind of close to one another. So you could essentially, you know, take a containment mill, you know, start building up defense and be that guy if you wanted to.
Yeah, that middle area is going to be a big point of contention. Whoever has that will be able to attack from a lot of locations quite easily. I'll be curious to see who is given that, I guess, first pocket base.
Yeah,
because it's a bit asymmetrical in that way that whoever gets that one, the next player is going to have to expand towards the enemy.
Right. Yeah, one thing I've noticed on these maps, with the exception of Tournament Island, I thought it was really cool that the maps are symmetrical if you look at it team by team, but not player by player. So, you know, one player on the team on these maps, typically, as you're mentioning, kind of has easier access to like a natural expansion, where the other player's natural expansion might be in kind of a more exposed spot or something. So I didn't even think about that, to be honest. I thought that was really cool by the map makers who were like, hey, let's make it symmetric team by team, but not player by player, you know?
Oh yeah, well done all around.
All right, looks like Jet and Jacoby kind of scratching their heads. This is an important map for them, man. Their tournament life is on the line here. Keep in mind, we do have prizes. I'm giving away a $20 Steam gift card to both members of the winning team, so a little bit of cheddar for the effort. And And it looks like Jet and Jacoby are ready to go. And we're about to hop into it.
Yeah, it was Jope and Doohoo who were first, and now they're rethinking their plan.
Yeah, imagine all these teams are on voice chat, you know, talking to each other, thinking things through. Again, I've got it on a 2-minute delay on the stream, so nothing to worry about on that regard. Just waiting on Doohoo to ready up. Here we go. All right, guys, to the right, really needing a win here to stay in the tournament. We've got Team Arctic Assault and their opponents to the left, up 1 match, ready to go to the finals. It is the Splitters. So yeah, so this map is kind of neat.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it in game, it is actually much smaller than I thought.
Yeah, Premium Bo was joking around with me, and Kalaru actually made this map and the Pork Prince map, the first map we saw today. And Premium Bo and Kalaru were kind of joking, like this map looks amazing, but it was almost like he did like one size too small, you know. Like I think if this was one size bigger, then it would kind of scale up very nicely, because there's so many little attack paths, and like I really love the back natural base. Because it looks, I mean, the back pocket base, because it looks very covered, but, you know, there's attack paths from both directions into it, you know?
Yeah, and what a crazy rush time. He got that lizard out, and boom, at the opponent's base. No units out for them. Fortunately, not much damage done. The squirrels come out at pretty good timing.
Yeah, Mishi kind of
we all
popularized...
know how squirrels are at defense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mishi back in the day kind of popularized this timing where you just get out the one lizard and you can get over there and kind of poke and prod at him. We see Jet kind of rocking that build there, but nothing too crazy, right? I think I was looking at the map, but I don't think any units died, did they?
No units died. It's going to be so scary to go for any high-tier units because the scout timing is so soon. They're going to see any type of warren down, and if you mistime anything, that's a timing that can be exploited.
Yeah,
it looks like one team's going to try to come in for an attack right now.
It's a very big game of Tier 1 chicken here, right? Because, like you said, imagine one team tries to take an expansion or put down a Tier 3 or something. You know, that window where the other team, if they just built more Tier 1, now they've got like 6 more squirrels. They move in and do so much damage. A little lizard run by up here in the top. Jet looking to get some damage in. Definitely going to get a pig. Going to try for the 2, but 1 pig for 2 lizards is a trade I'll take any day of the week. And this gristmill that Iris just took, this is what I'm really worried about, man, because now they can start putting down those balloons, those arty cannons, you know, that kind of thing, and really draw a favorable battle line here in the middle of the map.
Exactly. He was considering getting that middle one, but I wonder if they're just going to try to get some units out. Yeah, there you go. Both going for Tier 2, and I think they're just going to hope to... If Jope does go for more... farms, they can hopefully just push it down if they don't get any defensive units up in time.
All right.
Yeah, this might be a one-base play from the Eastern team here.
Yeah, ferrets are very deadly in this very low rush distance. Both teams, it looks like, are trying to get some ferrets on the board. Skunk here as well. The skunk does a nice job of kind of pushing back this ferret harassment, you know, stopping that, you know, odd Tier 1 unit or 2 or so getting picked off. And again, Jet Erickson with a nice lizard run by, only losing 1 lizard that time for a pig.
Yeah, this is a bit scary because the unit mass is a bit higher for Jacoby and Jet. So they could potentially do a bit of harass here, but I think they're going to play it safe and maybe just get this base of their own.
Yeah, Jet and Jacoby have eked out a little bit of value, you know, 120 food into this expansion for Iris that hasn't really paid off yet. Jet, you know, killing those pigs a couple times, but he does get the gristmill. But Iris throwing down the Fox Warren, and meanwhile Doohoo with the Badger, so they've kind of committed to this Tier 3, and that kind of puts a finer point on that Ultimo, where Jet and Jacoby have a nice timing right now. If they go for it right now, they might be able to break through.
Yeah, they're being a bit timid right now with the ferrets, but it's mostly they are going to get this yellow base, but the Tier 3s might come out before they can do some really heavy damage. that's gonna hurt them a lot.
Yeah, the splitters are totally okay with that. You know, they kind of expect to take some damage because they're working on getting out their tier 3 units. But as long as they don't take game-ending damage, as long as it's not crippling blows that they receive, they're fine with it. Yeah, I'll lose a Gristmill, maybe a couple Warrens, hell, even a Ferret if my team gets a Fox and a Badger on the board.
Coming up on that 5-minute mark, so Jet's going to start losing farms. I wonder if they're just going to keep committing to this base 1 play. But no, yeah, he's going for the expansion right now.
And I'm getting real worried for Arctic Assault here. They never scouted those tier 3 Warrens. Let me double check that and make sure that's true. So yeah, they have no idea that that's coming up. They probably think they're in a much better spot than they are because the Fox is almost out. Just a few more seconds. It's going to be here. The Badger's not very far behind, and here they go. They're kind of pushing in more and more. But, you know, Iris has fantastic Fox control. And now that the Fox is here, there's not any real units that kind of counter the Fox in Arctic Assault's entourage here. So this is about to hurt pretty bad. Let's see how this engagement goes. Both tier 3 are here, and Jet and Jacoby have to retreat with their tail between their legs, but they realize they don't really have anywhere to go. They kind of have to make a last stand. Oh, the Badger at 4 HP.
Control.
4 Ferrets here from Jet.
Left Jet's units there with that Badger and getting it out just in time. Just a big run by.
Yeah, phenomenal control. And, you know, this build from Jet would have been amazing. Getting out these 4 Ferrets in this kind of situation. You know, but they didn't know about these tier 3, and now that the tier 3 are here knocking on their door, I'm getting really worried for them. But they seem like they have a pretty big ground army, though, to be fair.
Yeah, one thing that Jet and Jacoby have is those 2 bases, the 2 expansions. So if they can hold it out and get some farms up, they'll just win by attrition. But as long as they keep their tier 3s alive, it should be fine. So it comes down to the control here with these last few units.
Those tier 3s taking a couple punches, but they're still alive and kicking. This is rough, man. You're absolutely right, though. If Jet and Jacoby could just kind of outlast Iris and Duhu, they will eventually win this by economic advantage, as there's no second base for the splitters. And the Fox goes down to a Ferret shot. Absolutely huge. However, they managed to get Jacoby's expansion gristmill in the process.
Now both players on the eastern side are starving, so they're gonna have to sell something off to get another mill up.
Yeah, everybody's almost starving.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
I'm really surprised.
It's gonna come down to these last few units.
Poor Iris, dude. He decided to commit to another Fox, and look where his money ran out. Like 175 food left. Couldn't quite afford that Fox. He really needs to sell off that tier 3 Warren, but he's too busy on the front line. And the splitters are really just hoping that this Badger wins the game for him. And you know what? It's looking like it just might do it. These Ferrets are not that great against the Badger. What you really want is something like a Falcon with a lot of burst damage. Oh my god, I think the Badger just single-handedly won this game.
Yeah, the pigeon heals and the unfortunately not enough single target units to take down the Badger, and they're just able to reign supreme. Yeah, it looks like we're going to start surrendering here. That was a very close game. That could have went either way, but beautiful control with the tier 3s. If they would have lost those, that would have been game for them.
All right, so that's going to be it, guys. We're about to hop into the grand finals. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to do the bronze match first. So,
would you consider that an upset, or is that a pretty even matchup? So that could have gone either way.
I would say it was an upset because I think Jet is the strongest player out of all of them. But at the same time, I don't think it's enough to call it an upset, to be honest, because Iris and Duhu are both also very top tier players, and they're I believe their family, and you know, they live and play together and stuff a lot. So I think Iris and Duhu are really well known for their teamwork. You know, for practicing 2v2 together a lot, but I feel like Jet was like the strongest individual player there, you know, and Jacoby's also fantastic. So now I don't think it was an upset, but I did expect Arctic Assault to win, but not by a big enough margin to call it a pure upset, you know.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Iris and Duhu live together, huh? Man, they got the grind going then.
I think
no, they had a team house.
Right.
That was a budget.
Okay, so I think we're doing bronze match next.
Does the bronze match winner receive anything, or is it all for pride?
It's just for fun. It's just for pride. The prize is only for the winner of the tournaments.
Gotcha.
Let us see. If you know what, as this is going on, guys, let's take a quick 1 to 2 minute break. We'll be back in just a second. We'll try to get everything sorted out by then. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back here shortly.
See ya.
Alright, sorry about that, guys. We are here. Okay, so, going into the bronze match next. Which will be Arctic Assaults versus the loser of... Man, how'd you say it? I still can't say it. Leg toy? Leg toy! Man, you've got it down pat. I don't know why that's giving me so much trouble. So Leg Toy and Gentle Pork are still playing. And the loser of that is doing bronze match. Okay. Alright. Let me see if I can show you guys the tournament browser capture.
How much preparation did the teams have? Do you know if any of the teams did some heavy training on the maps, or?
So we announced the map pool actually late Thursday night, I believe. So the players have seen the maps a little bit, and then I saw a lot of guys kind of doing last minute stuff to try to prepare today. I know Kalaru, like a couple of the 20 XP, who is in the tournament, made the tournament island map. Illuminatus made the Law and Order map. The map we just saw, Uneven Grounds, and also the Pork Prince map were both made by Kalaru, and Premium Bow made the Desert Fort. So I think throughout testing that, some of the teams probably got to play on them a little bit, but I don't think anyone went super hard, at least on the custom maps, unless it was in the last day or two. So let me coordinate with these guys. So we're actually gonna veto.
Is the bronze going to be a best of 5 as well?
The bronze is best of 3.
Oh, with vetoes. Okay,
with vetoes,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're just waiting on Gentle Pork and Leg Toy to finish up their match, and they are going to go up against Arctic Assault here for bragging rights for the 3rd place. All right, I'm kind of disappointed I don't get to ever play in these things, man. These custom maps are a lot of fun, and before the tournament today, everybody was kind of trying to scramble and practice on them a little bit. So I got to play on the maps a little bit, and I had a lot of fun, man. Tournament Island was pretty cool. What else did I play on? I think I played Tournament Island, and I played Law and Order. Both those maps are really great. So I think the custom map thing is kind of got some feet to it, especially in the 2v2 matchup, because map RNG could be a really big thing in 2v2. If one team just kind of happens to get the vast majority of the gristmills on their side of the map, it can kind of be a little unbalanced, at least more so than in like 1v1 most of the time, because the map RNG these days, at least in 1v1, is to where you're almost like you're pretty closely guaranteed like at least a natural expansion, a second base, and really in Tooth and Tail, I mean, you can't complain as long as you have access to at least one additional gristmill, because most games are kind of 1 to 2 base play anyways, but it can be a little more lopsided in 2v2.
Do you think we'll see a 1v1 custom map tournament at some point?
So we saw one a little bit ago. Jed Erickson organized that. Y'all can check that out in my Twitch VODs. And that was a lot of fun. I believe Amari ended up winning that tournament with some artillery cannon usage as well. And that was a lot of fun as well. Me and Jet kind of tested all the maps and voted on them, decided which ones we liked the best. And we had a lot. I think Jet was a lot more involved with the custom map making community there. Like, we had a lot of submissions for that tournament. But to be honest, the workshop is getting so established nowadays. Like, you almost don't need to kind of pitch like, hey, I'm doing a custom map tournament and I need custom maps. Like, there's so many on the workshop now that look really great. You could kind of just pick and choose a few of them and go for it,
That's excellent. Are all the map makers usually here in the Discord, or have you found that sometimes they're just random people uploading stuff to the workshop?
It's a mix of both, We've got some guys like Best Sakia NA. He's the guy who runs the Tooth and Tail League. He's kind of involved in making maps in a bunch of games. He's been doing it for years, so he made some fantastic maps. I'll see maps from guys who aren't in the Discord. I'm kind of surprised. If you guys are watching this and you're interested in Tooth and Tail, definitely join the Discord, guys. It's an enormous part of this game. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Like,
oh, absolutely.
And
big part of the community's on there.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a multiplayer match, and maybe it's one of those times of the day where it's hard to find somebody, just, if you go into Discord and you say, hey, does anybody want to play? Hey, I'm, hosted a lobby, like, you'll get somebody to join your map very, very quick. So, plus I'm always just in the Discord, derping around, joking with everybody. We got a really cool community in Tooth and Tail. A lot of great folks here. So I think we're still waiting.
Imagine if Leg Toy wins the tournament.
Dude, Leg Toy, I mean, if they knock out Chip and Arbuz here, it's looking pretty good for them. Chip and Arbuz, talk a little bit about Chip and Arbuz Ultima for those who are unfamiliar.
Man, they were pretty much, so there was like the alpha time, right? And that was, the top players there were usually Deadbone, Xeno, and I. And then we get to the release time and a little bit before alpha, and that was Arbuz and Chip. And now they're still going strong even now. And it's great to see. Arbuz sort of took a bit of a hiatus. I guess Chip did as well. Does Chip still stream? He streamed a lot when it was released.
Yeah, I don't think Chip's been streaming like in general lately. I'd have to check with him. But I know Chip's still around from time to time playing some Tooth and Tail, especially when events like this come around. I think he's going hard in his StarCraft and those sorts of things as well.
Nice.
So it's cool, man. One thing that's really fun about the scene is just organizing events, because you'll get players that kind of come out of the woodwork for that. Maybe they, like in Arbuz or a Chip, they're not super active these days, but a couple of years ago when the game launched or during the alpha, these guys were grinding, were the best, and you announce an event, and all of a sudden, these kinds of people kind of poke up, and they're like, yeah, man, I'll come wreck some nerds in a tournament, on a Saturday afternoon. Why not?
Yeah, it brings everyone together. It's
a
nice feeling. And it's awesome to see people like you, Premium Bow, continuing to put up tournaments, and Sakia as well.
Yeah, it's always fun.
That whole TNT League, it's awesome.
Yeah, TNT League is super cool. I don't think he's announced the next season yet, but he did say we will be getting another season. Definitely keep an eye on that. Trying to it's basically like almost like a GSL formatted thing where it's like a tournament with a lot of players over an extended period of time. So it's really fun. And I would say too, man, if you really like Tooth and Tail and you want to get more involved with it, you know, there's no asking permission here. Like just organize an event, and people, if you build it, they will come, you know. And maybe if you don't stream or you don't cast or something, reach out to me or reach out to Ultima. You know, there's a lot of the guys in the scene that'll take care of things like that for you. Like I can't get away from Tooth and Tail, man, just because I love to play caster. You know what I mean? Like it's fun to cast RTS video games. Did Jet bail? He's just like, I'm done with it.
Sorry about that.
I'm sure he's coming back. No worries. So we are.
He's just gonna go out at 1v2.
Dude, Jacoby could do it. Just give him an insane computer, or maybe you could just do it like a medium one. Okay, Jet's coming back. So we're still just waiting on the other round of 4 game to finish. I was trying to get up. Man, I'm so terrible at navigating the Steam.
Actually, you're able to add a bot to a teammate? Yes?
I mean, I think yeah, absolutely. I think so.
Huh.
I don't know if I've ever tried that. Don't quote me, I guess.
Yeah,
now you got me second
I
guessing
guess,
myself.
For that guy who had to drop because his teammate couldn't show, I guess you could have put him in with a... Because that's kind of funny in Smash tournaments. If the teammate doesn't show in Melee, you're given a level 9 Ganon. And that can sometimes take you pretty far.
Dude, have you played the new Smash?
I have, yes.
Dude, I got like super hooked on it when it first came out. I haven't touched it in a bit, but it's not because it's not good. It's amazing. I just, you know, too many games, not enough time, kind of thing.
I know what you mean. Did you play a lot of the online?
Yeah, I was really impressed with the online, to be honest. I bought an Ethernet adapter so I could just wire in instead of be relying on my Wi-Fi, and I almost never had lag issues.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, I mean every now and then you would get them, but it was like 1 out of 6 games, so I knew the issues were coming from the other person and not from me, you know. All right, so while we're waiting, guys, I figured it out to kind of show off a little bit of these maps. So I'm taking a look at Law and Order right now on the Steam Workshop, and I love this map, man. I think this is a really cool. For one, it's just aesthetically pleasing. I like how it looks organic. I like how it looks like it could be, you know, a regular randomly generated Tooth and Tail map, and you kind of look closer and you can see the symmetry. We saw one match on this map so far today, and we don't have structured maps anymore for the rest of the tournament. It's all going to be on a voting system, so I'm curious. Now we're kind of going to see what the players think are the best maps, you know, what they decide to play on from here. I mean, I don't know if you got Law and Order up at the moment, Mr. Ultima, but what do you...
Oh, yeah, I got it. All the maps.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm the slacker here then. So what do you think about this one? This was from E Illuminatus, one of the mods and big member of the community.
Oh, as you mentioned, first and foremost, it's definitely the best looking map of the bunch. The river in the middle with the swirl is very wonderful looking. He was able to keep up the symmetry very well, even with all the complicated bits and pieces strewn around the map. Definitely put his heart and soul into this, which is very telling of Eel. He's very dedicated.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. I like how there's a lot of different attack paths. Again, I love this like symmetry between the teams, but not between the players kind of thing. And it's kind of short and sweet, but the small rush distance is a bit offset by all the water, you know, to slow down the units. But as we saw in the match that we saw this streamed on, you know, that didn't really stop the players.
No, you're right. I fully expected the game to go to, I guess, a bit of an attrition with ferrets shooting from across the river, but as you mentioned, we just saw squirrels rushing across. I guess the water didn't really deter them that much. Although we did see those lizard run-bys, the map is big enough for a big clockwise or counterclockwise swoop. That's pretty much what determined the game. And looks like we have the players for the bronze match?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what map they actually want to play on. Hopefully they don't start the game.
So it's one team bans, the other team picks, correct?
Hang on one sec. So they don't Okay, so how it works is they're going to ban maps, and then the last one standing is the map that we're playing on. Does that make sense? So we have 5 maps at the start. So Jet's going to say, I don't want to play on Tournament Island. This guy is going to say, I don't want to play on Law and Order. Rinse and repeat till one's remaining. Oh, they just started.
What?
They weren't supposed
It's
to
kind of
start.
funny because Jet was in the Discord and he said, just start.
All right, well, I guess we're playing on. Oh man, now they're confused. Okay, well, I guess we're playing on this map. I don't know. Jet screwed us. Jet, you bastard.
All right, and going for some mind plays off the bat. Looks like he's being a bit silly right now.
Whoops. Oh, what is going on with my... Sorry about this, everybody. My controller decided...
Oh, well, and this is causing this guy to sell his stuff, and now Jet's gonna get some squirrels out without any units. Well, Lego Man's gonna have some lizards. And I think that might be enough to potentially hold off these squirrels. We'll see in a second.
Oh my gosh. My controller just went haywire. Okay, so...
Oh, no.
Alright, I'm back in business. Sorry about that, everybody. Alright, so we
Yeah,
got some shenanigans here.
Yeah, I think Jet and Jacoby are gonna win just simply because they don't have any units. So yeah, Jacoby was well, no, it was Jacoby that was placing mines all over this guy's warrens, and he wasn't able to get any of them out because he kept selling them. Now he just lost some units again to the mines. I don't know if they're going to be able to get... I think Jet should have went for farms instead, but he's just continuing to commit to this mill. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it with these other units coming out. It's going to be very close. Oh, 2 shots.
Yeah, I don't even know if, like, Leg Toy was ready, to be honest. They were in the Discord like, are we restarting or what's going on? So we were supposed to, like, ban maps there, and Jet just kind of... all the players readied up and didn't do it. But it's not too big of a deal because it's a bronze match anyway, so it's, like, just for fun. Whatever the players want to do. This is a lot of mines here from Jacoby. Kind of styling on their opponents here. It's only a matter of time until Arctic Assault should win this game, as it is now a 1v2 scenario. But that was pretty skirmishy, man. I to be honest, I missed a lot of that early game because my controller started going haywire, and I think a lot of the viewers did too because my view was all screwed up. So.
Oh, nice. Were you out in the void somewhere?
Yeah, I was kind of like slowly creeping along the edge of the map.
Nice.
Yeah, no big deal though. Sorry about that, guys. So this should be about over, I'm thinking. Now I'm watching it on the Twitch stream. That's so embarrassing. Sorry about that. Hashtag production value, guys. Stop them. This game doesn't count, says Premium. Okay. Well, I don't really have a way to stop them. Alright, trying to message him on Discord. Oh, now they're just delaying the game. Like,
Yeah, there's just a bit of stalling going on
oh,
now.
my lord. I don't know. Should we just say bad form and scratch the bronze match and just go to the finals? Like,
DQ these players.
yeah.
I think Premium Bo is gonna have to make the decision on that.
All right. Let's see if they finally finish off their opponents here.
What does this guy have? Oh, okay, he's sold. He's okay.
All right. Okay.
A dignified surrender.
Okay. Okay, I think we're going into it now.
Well played from Jacoby and Jet, taking their opponents totally off guard.
Okay, so Jet bans Tournament Island. So that game was just memery. We're back on track here. Sorry about that, guys. Let me make sure I got that correct. Okay.
They're banning Uneven Ground now.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
Unsurprising, the Tournament Island map, heavily macro. We saw they just went straight for tier 3s, ran into each other and died. And an Uneven Ground, bit of a short rush distance, so I imagine they don't feel like playing that. Probably want to get a good mixture of macro and T1 tier 2 play.
Okay, so the bans are out, which means the final map is Pork Prince.
Wow, surprising.
Yeah, they banned Law and Order at the last minute. Oh, crap. No, back out. Darn it.
Uh-oh, are you not in the game?
They readied up before I could change the map. Ugh. Let me see here.
Man, these players are antsy.
Oh, dude. They're killing
Are
me.
you able to rejoin? Or...
Yes, I should be able to.
Okay.
Are they still readied up?
They are. Yeah, they're recruiting right now. There you go. They are backed out.
Good lord. Wait. I'm not the host anymore, though. Who's the host? Ah!
Is it me?
Are you the host? Can you change the map?
I'm not subscribed to them. I unsubscribed.
Who is the host? Okay, new lobby. Alright, let me make a new lobby. Everything was going great until this match, AB. Like, it was a perfect tournament up until the bronze match. It's alright, though.
It's still a perfect tournament.
Aw. That's why I like you. Okay. Boom. All right. You got the new password? It's in the Discord.
Got it. Excellent. We good to go?
Okay, looks like it. There we go.
Excellent.
Sorry about that, everybody. Looks like we've got everything back on track now. And we're hopping into match 1 of the bronze match to see who gets the 3rd place in the tournament here today. And then following this up, we're going to go into the grand finals, which is a best of 5 between the Splitters and Gentle Pork. So we're on Pork Prince. This was the first map that we saw with that high ground area that's pretty close to both mains, easily contestable. All right.
Yeah, and as we saw, the high ground wasn't really used that much. And I doubt, again, it'll be used at all here unless the teams decide to do something silly. I mean, there's just so many cabins to run through if you go that way. Plus, there's no expansions up there, so why even would you?
This is very true. In the bottom left, we have Arctic Assault, and their opponents to the right, Leg Toy. I think I said it right that time. Alright, sorry if there's clackering of my keyboard here. My controller decided to have issues. And now I am spectating with mouse and keyboard, which I don't think I've ever really even done before, to be honest.
Oh no.
Do you typically spectate with the controller as well, right?
Say again? It's cutting it in and out a bit.
Oh, sorry. I said you typically spectate with a controller as well, right?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah. I think
they gotta have that smooth movement.
Yeah, I think that's the reason I started spectating with the controller. Was I think you gave me that tip like way back in the day, and it's definitely the way to go.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the only way to do it.
All right, so
got that buttery smooth movement.
That one lizard aggression here, forcing back the Warrens, very nicely done. This amount of damage with just one lizard is very, very nice, and he even keeps it alive. I mean, it's kind of indirect damage because he didn't really kill anything, but he really slowed down the tier 1s of his opponent. And yeah, so I think they're in a nice spot, and they also kind of forced them off this high ground here. So trying to fight for that high ground dominance very, very quickly is Leg Toy.
They could have potentially done significantly more damage, but this guy opting to go for farms first instead of units. So it was just Lego Man out there throwing them spears with his lizard. But now we've sort of settled, and looks like we're going to have some battle lines drawn here, right down the middle. Again, there's the option of all those cabins in the top if one player decides to attempt to go through it. But the thing is, if one side decides to clear it, right, that's units they're committing to do it, units they're losing to do it, and then that just opens it for the other team too.
Yeah, so, ideally you'd want to like just take a few units. Like if you had like 3 lizards, but you also had squirrels, so you don't move your whole army out of position and kind of go over there and try to clear them out. I think it's definitely been underutilized in this tournament, man. We've seen a lot of focus on this middle high ground, which is to be expected. But Arctic Assault really going super heavy on the tier 1, just now starting to get some ferrets in play as well. And we're gonna see this kind of ferret dance back and forth, ferrets and skunks from both sides coming in here shortly.
I expect to see a balloon at some point. Both sides have one, just to try to, I guess, get these ferrets under control. And oh, better be careful, gotta move that ferret, almost losing it. There you go, some balloons going down. Now I fully expect, ooh, okay, Jacoby taking the high ground with actually no vision from the other team, so both those structures going down.
Very nice.
Real bad.
Nicely done from Jacoby, abusing this high ground, abusing the fact that the opponents didn't have any vision there. The ferrets kind of starting to go down as well, but now green and blue are looking like they might go for a full-on assault. This balloon is almost up and ready, which is going to be fantastic. It would actually be defended here, kind of keep those ferrets back. And the balloon does get up.
Yeah, that was pretty good, putting down the, I guess, the MG first to take potentially a bunch of the attack, because really, you just want to get the balloon down. But the MG in front sort of helps tank some of the ferret shots, because the balloon can be hit with ferret shots as it's being built.
Yeah, it's very true. Very smart to kind of try to buffer for that balloon, because once that balloon gets up, you know, it's pretty hard to deal with as long as it stays protected by more units. But this is a lot of toads coming in, and a hard engagement out from Arctic Assault onto red and yellow's army. Let's see if they have enough to push through. The ferret's doing a lot of damage from the back. That turret doing fairly nicely as well. The turret drops, though, and it looks like red and yellow should hold for now, but round 2 of this attack is about to happen. We see Jet Erickson again going up to the 4 ferrets.
Yeah, green and blue sort of realizing here that, wow, there's actually a ton of room here out to the south, so let's not even run into that balloon. But they're sort of just running headfirst into a bunch of defense in terms of Warrens, and they're sort of just one-base playing this, and they're going to start running out of food very soon if they don't decide to back up and get some mills going.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, this guy was able to establish this grist mill, put a couple of farms on it. Jacoby kind of all-ins on that balloon, does get it. And meanwhile, another attack is going on in the high ground of the south between Jet and this guy.
Wow, nice work. I think he might be sacking his mill just to take out all these ferrets. I don't know if that's a good move, but is he even going to lose the mill? The squirrel's not doing quite enough DPS, but now he has to fall back, and that mill's going to go down. Oh, that's huge. Now with Jet Erickson's ferret superiority, you're able to push back these units, but there's also a ton of squirrels and DPS on the side of yellow. And wow, yeah, sort of just a higher massive units for Jacoby, able to take out that squirrel ball. And now the bunch of pigeons able to heal and keep this blue army up. And now, since none of the players really have a ton of farms going, they're sort of losing units, and I think they're gonna back up, sort of get re-established here.
Yeah, but as the dust settles, I think it's looking a little bit better for blue and green. I could be wrong, but just kind of judging by the units that are left on the map, yeah, they really have the higher technology army still available to them. They still have a few more tier 2s in there, and you know, second base for Lego Man has been established. Jet is trying to get his own second base as well, but this is kind of the later game Tooth and Tail that I really like, you know, when it's kind of scrappy economies and we get to the point where every unit really matters.
Yeah, as you said, this is the epitome of Tooth and Tail here, you know, fighting your hearts out, having no more food left, and then starting back over. Yeah,
strong army, man.
All those pigeons are really keeping their units up, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to hold this. Ooh.
Yeah, that might have been too much damage. I'm not so sure. Like, the fact that Jet and Jacoby have been able to keep their tier 2 units alive and established, like, their opponents only have a skunk here. But on the flip side of that coin, you know, red and yellow have established a second base economy where green and blue really haven't at this point. They're kind of starting to get there, though. Jacoby took this base on the high ground. You know, Jet's got a second base that, you know, a few farms are just starting to kick in. But the problem now is going to be this constant shelling from these ferrets. And, you know, red and yellow just really don't have enough units left over anymore to try to buffer this attack away.
Yeah, they have the economy advantage, but they just don't have the army to hold for them to let that economy actually do anything. But Jet and Jacoby are kind of playing a bit timid right now. They probably could commit a bit more, but I think they're just playing it real careful because they are low on units and they don't want to overcommit and just end up doing something foolish.
All right, Jet moving forward with these ferrets, with these snakes. Now the skunk warrens should be falling. This is kind of like the last stand here for red and yellow behind their balloon with a couple tier 2 units, but really not enough of those grunt tier 1 units on the front to kind of soak and deal a little bit of damage. And again, yeah, like you were saying, man, these economies are looking good, but they just weren't really given enough time for that to really kick in.
Yeah, this single balloon is essentially keeping them alive right now. That Jet and Jacoby just don't feel comfortable pushing into it, even though there's only 2 Warrens or 4 total Warrens on the side of Lego Man and this guy.
But you know,
now
what?
they've established high ground. What do I know?
They're still in the game. They got a second balloon up. That's going to be very nice against the Ferrets. Well, as I say, they got a second balloon up. It dies right before they don't. I don't know, man. I was trying to hype it up, but this might be too much here, especially if this Gristmill starts taking damage. Well, they're kind of committing a little bit hard on it. A lot of these tier 2 units for Jet are going to go down. Jacoby really doesn't have anything left to his name, and that single balloon is just kind of killing the odd squirrel or 2 that try to rally over, but the expansion does go down. This is getting real weird.
I could almost see this transitioning into a 1v1 if Jacoby ends up going down here, because he has only 2 farms to Jet Ericsson's 6, or 5, I mean. That ends up happening, that'd be really fascinating. But these ferrets have had so much value. They've been alive for so long because he's kept his pigeons alive as well.
Yeah, this guy is really the hope for Legtoy here. But Lego Man being kind of sneaky, trying to take this Gristmill over in the 9 o'clock position, right? Kind of from underneath his opponent's noses.
That's actually a great base, because if the Western team wants to take it, they're gonna have to commit some units over there, and that could be a chance to attack the front. So this is a great sort of pincer move. Yeah, they're not really in a position to be able to go even kill it unless they want to lose something on the front side of their bases.
Right. And now this guy is kind of built up enough tier 1 here to keep his opponents away, but Jet's coming back with more snakes, with more ferrets. And I was expecting him to kind of go in a little bit harder. Yeah, like try to soak the balloon hit, try to get this balloon down, but the snake is going to die for the effort, but the balloon will fall, and that balloon is really what was keeping this constant Farron shelling at bay. And is that it? Is that the game? I'm not so sure. I keep thinking this game is over, and then it's like 3 minutes later, and here we are still.
Lego Man has a single ferret on the backside, and it looks like, yeah, Jacoby's gonna have to go back and deal with that, leaving Jet Ericsson alone to deal with this guy. So we got a 2-front war here, left and right. But I think Jet Ericsson just still, as you said, has just better technology here. Has had those ferrets forever, had those snakes and pigeons keeping them alive. And I think he's just going to outlast him here.
Yeah, and Jacoby discovered the cheeky little hidden base from Lego Man over in the 9 o'clock. So I think that slowly but surely, Jet and Jacoby are now starting to end this game. Lego Man is frantically looking for a campfire or something to build to try to not starve out. But Jet Ericsson's gonna get the kill on this guy. Lego Man goes down as Jacoby knocks out the 9 o'clock base. And Arctic Assaults gets the points in the best of 3.
Very good effort from Legtoy.
All right. All right. Let's see what map they decide to pick next. Let me go ahead and change the map to something else in case they... you first. All right.
So can the prince, or what's the name of that? Pleasure of Pig?
Pleasure of the Pork Prince or something like that?
Pleasure of the Pork Prince. That's a long name. So is this map now Shrike from being chosen? Or
Yes.
Okay.
So it's out of the pool. Uneven Grounds is the first ban from Legtoy. Tournament Island banned by Jet Ericsson. Law and Order banned by this guy, which leaves Desert Fort as the map. Alright, so let us play on Desert Fort. Okay, so we've moved on to Desert Fort. We've seen this map, I think just once today, right?
Only once.
And it was quite a game indeed, where they're able to get that balloon and ferret up to get the range on the artillery cannon. That once that artillery cannon got locked down, you know, I was convinced, I think you were pretty convinced as well, that, you know, damn, that's a really hard position to break. So I was really impressed that they found kind of an innovative solution to that.
Yeah, the artillery wasn't in the best spot, and they just had a better, oddly enough, they had a better position on the low ground than the high ground that the other team could have had, which is very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
And just the ferrets attacking from a distance that the artillery couldn't see, along with the balloon, were just great circumstances.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Like, you'd think the team that got the Desert Fort, you know, you're locked in, but they were able to flip it around. Curious to see.
Well, that's exactly it, I guess. They're locked in.
Haha. Very true.
No way out.
I can't believe they still won after, I think it was Leg Toy, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was Lego Man's lizards that all died to the barbed wire.
You're right. That was the first set we had.
Oh, I had my controller in hand like I was about to use it. All right, on the left, we've got Team Arctic Assault and their opponents to the rights. Team Leg Toy. Okay, let's see how they want to play this one out. Let's see if we're going to see similar strat. Jacoby already up here in the fort. Looks like he's just looking around. But yeah, I'm interested if anyone's going to go for the fort, or maybe they just start expanding down the V, or maybe, you know, a soft committal to the fort where you kind of take a couple of the cabins, you know, that are maybe off to the side, or like that 12 o'clock cabin or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a very different play style depending on what these players go for. Like, neither team could go for the fort, and it just ends up being a massive battle lines fight down in the V here. Or we're going to see another game like before where one team gets the fort, one team gets the V. There's a lot of options here. For having a non-symmetrical map, anything can happen, really.
Yeah, and I'd love to see more of this map, to be honest, because it feels like, you know, looking at it, there's just a lot of possibilities. But so far, nothing crazy. 8 farm openings from everybody. Going into some tier 1. You know, we've got a lot of tier 3 this time around. You know, some Fox could possibly come up. That Badger Wolf style that we saw the Splitters pilot to a nice victory earlier is a possibility here as well. Okay, nobody's really committed too hard yet. I mean, Lego Man's committed to that balloon, which is a big investment, but that's a pretty decent balloon spacing, balloon positioning, you know. It kind of gives you some vision on a little bit of the fortress area. It protects your natural pretty nicely. So I don't hate it, but at the same time, early defense like that, you know, 9 times out of 10, that 120 food that was that balloon would have been better off spent as like a gristmill in a farm or a tier 2 warren or something, you know?
You're definitely right. But if I'm remembering correctly, I think if it was Leg Toy who played this map before, this is the same balloon they did before.
Yeah, it was, and then but that was the one that they sold. That was the one that wasn't the super value balloon. The super value balloon, I think, was on the higher ground up there, if not very close to it.
Yes.
But here we go again. Jet Erickson rocking the ferrets all tournament long. He's looking to come in and start applying the pressure. They took the 6 o'clock gristmill right at the bottom of the V. And this is going to give him a nice little home to run back to with the ferrets. Maybe set up a balloon, build some proxy warrens down here to kind of mitigate the defender's advantage of their opponents. And Lego Man sneaking one of the Desert Fort gristmills for his second base.
That's pretty nice. You don't necessarily need to take the cabins out. Just grab those mills and get the farms you can.
Yeah. Ooh, and both ferrets get poisoned to death. Very nicely done by Lego Man. Jet's control is very, very good. So being able to knock out both his ferrets like that really throws a wrench in the gears of Arctic Assault here, as that was kind of their big plan, right? Is this push? Like, they're not really looking, you know, as I say that, Jacoby takes a gristmill, but, you know, just now they have second bases. Like, it looks like red and yellow are kind of more in this for the long haul anyways, right? Already have one basic farmed up. I'm sure once Lego Man gets a chance, he'll burrow over to this top gristmill, start throwing down some farms there.
Yeah, that was pretty tough seeing those ferrets go down, because then they were able to get up this forward balloon pretty much uncontested. Now that's going to be pretty annoying for any future harass. But luckily they do have this forward mill, so they do have a few other farms to back up on. And they're contesting this one right here. So they're all the players are pretty safe for right now to head into a pretty decent late game. And Jet Erickson, speaking of which, grabbing that fox there all the way in the south.
Ooh, that fox is going to be critical. If he can get it up, if it remains unscouted. Lego Man does have a lot of the anti-fox repellent spray kind of units in his deck here, with the lizards, with the snakes, with the balloons, even sometimes a ferret as well, man. Like if a ferret happens to get that cannon fire on a fox, I mean, we saw Iris lose a fox earlier because of that, so a little bit unlikely, but
yeah,
it still
nothing's
can
getting
happen.
one shot here.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see Jet, if he can't get anything done at the front, just loop the fox all the way around. And if he was going to do that in the first place, he probably should have put the Warren back at his main base anyway. Ooh.
So Jacoby did scout
to take out these cabins.
Yeah, he did just scout this gristmill up here, so I like this a lot, you know, only bringing the Falcons up here, keeping the rest of his units in position. But an engagement is coming down at the south end, which, even though Jacoby's units are there, they're not being microed, and the skunks are going to die almost immediately. So much gas down here on the map, I'm not even really sure what's going on in this fight. But
I have a feeling, though, that even if Leg Toy gets a leg up on this fight, like 4 Falcons are coming in to back up this, and that might be enough just to turn the tide here with a few units left for the other side.
Yeah, red and yellow really got to get some damage done with this attack. They lost one of their expansions to do this. You know, Lego Man's second base went down, and they didn't quite kill Jet Erickson's second base, and the Foxes here. This is looking better and better for Arctic Assault.
Yeah, those reinforcing Falcons came in and absolutely wiped the floor with the remaining units of Leg Toy. And now the Fox sort of has free reign, but can't really move to that northern area. You're right, though, losing that base, and now Lego Man's only on 2 farms right now with almost nowhere to really expand safely.
All right, the Badger is here for red and yellow, so maybe they can make a miracle happen with that. But it's going to be hard for them to get another base, and now Lego Man is actually starving, so maybe the best bet is to sell something off and just grab that cabin. But, you know, on top of that, he's not really got an army anymore, to be honest. You know, it's really just yellow here for his team, where green and blue are both kind of, you know, still adding into their composition quite nicely. Yeah, that cabin will go down, so Lego Man will stay in the game, but just doesn't have a whole lot left to his name. The snakes and skunks are nice, and he does have the pigeon. The pigeon's up to kind of help the Badger. And Jacoby's going to scout. This gristmill was taken again. He's going to scout. The campfire has been taken.
Yeah, I imagine he'll bring a set of units up there again to take it, because well, you know, that might be a fear because of the Badger now. Any lost units is lost DPS on potentially taking out that Badger. Let's see what they choose to do. I mean, even if he does get that mill up, that's very minimal money at the moment, considering Lego Man has only a campfire.
Ooh, he tried to get a balloon down, and it got shot down by the ferret before it was finished building. Didn't even get the refund for it. And Jet's been doing nice, coming in here and doing some fox harassment, trying to utilize this kind of poking unit as best as he can. I like how this Badger's just sitting here tanking foxes,
he doesn't
though.
care.
Like, whatever, man. Dude,
this is very similar to the last
hilarious.
game. Yeah, Jet and Jacoby are playing it very slow, making sure they don't make any mistakes. Okay, smart. Bringing the ferrets over to get that Badger to move.
Right.
Luckily, this guy there to make the adjustment.
Yeah, this is hard for Leg Toy. They can't really engage, and like you said, Jet and Jacoby are just kind of taking their time. Like, they don't have to hard engage here necessarily and risk something going wrong with the engagement. Really, they just want to get as much value with this snake or with this fox as possible by just coming in here and constantly poking. A really cool utilization of the tier 2 and tier 3 units on the front to try to minimize losses from this fox. This fox really hasn't killed anything, at least not in a while. It's mainly just been, hits on snakes and hits on badgers that immediately get healed back up.
Yeah, it's essentially just a moving balloon at this point, just keeping them back while they just get more and more ahead.
But red and yellow looks like they're deciding to engage. Their army is weaker, but they do have a badger, and badgers are capable of some crazy nonsense in the right situations, but the badger didn't quite get the rev up it was looking for, and a lot of the units that were buffering for the badger went down without that badger really delivering the damage that Leg Toy needed.
I'm unsure what options Leg Toy have here, other than, I guess, get Lego Man some farms and campfires, but it'll take so long for his economy to sort of ramp up again. It's a tough spot for him.
Yeah, they're trying to utilize this fort. I like how he's taking some of those campfires and not just all-inning on the gristmill, but, Jacoby's been making sure to go up there and keep an eye on the state of the fort. He's constantly coming up here, taking a look at it, scouting, and now the fox is going to be able to run through. It hits the barbed wire.
That's kind of dangerous. If it takes any pig hits, then it might have a hard time getting back out. Okay, nice.
Well, I think it should be able to walk over the campfire. I guess not. Oh, I think it's because somebody took it at one point. I'm not sure. Alright, have Jet and Jacoby decided now is the time. They've got such a massive army here. I think they could probably move in and just end this if they wanted to. 2 foxes as well.
Yeah, I wonder what they're afraid of at this point, because, oh wow, they might actually lose the mill to poison? Okay. Makes sense. But still, the army values are pretty low for Leg Toy.
Alright, it looks like
I fully expect Jet and Jacoby to go in.
Yeah, I think they're just hard engaging now. And they've been in such control of this game over the last several minutes with a much better economy. And they should be able to just run through here and roll their opponents over. And that'll be it. So Arctic Assault ends up winning the bronze match, and the grand finals is ready to go. And while the players have been waiting, they've already determined the map order, which is pretty nice.
Excellent.
Alright, so this guy's sent to the kitchens. Lego Man will follow suit. And nicely done by Arctic Assault, and we will be heading into the grand finals. And the first match of the grand finals will be on Desert Fort. Okay, so I'm going to make a new lobby again with the original password.
Alright.
And let me... So we are going to Desert Fort first, which is the map we just played. Let me ping the players. All right. So this is gonna be good, man. Iris and Doohoo versus Chip and Arbuz. This is kind of that interesting situation again. I feel like where Chip and Arbuz are probably the favored, favored as in stronger individual players, but Iris and Doohoo just make such a good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to take the win here. I don't know. It's gonna be rough, man. This is gonna be a really good set. I'm pretty hyped for this.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see them take it to the limit. All 5 games.
That is a possibility, definitely. So, the map order looks like has already been determined. The first game is going to be on Desert Fort. The second game will be Pork Prince. The third match will be Tournament Island. And if we have a fourth and a fifth, we're going to go to Law and Order fourth, and fifth will be Uneven Grounds. Looks like Gentle Pork is here. While we're waiting on them, I can do some things on my end. Gentle Pork and the Splitters. That's right.
I wonder what type of information was gleaned from that previous game, because we just saw this map, and I wonder what type of strats these teams are going to implement based on what they just saw.
Yeah, that's true.
If they think the fort's even worth it, if they're going to instead go with taking the southern base and then establishing that position.
Right. Well, by this point in the tournament, the players have played on every map. Maybe they've played on a couple of the maps, twice. So they kind of have a good idea of the strengths and weaknesses of the individual maps. And I'm interested to see, especially if we're going to see more like tailored strategies.
Yeah, Shoof just sort of said the same thing. I agree with him that the fortress does seem like a trap. The bottom corner just allows you to... it gives you control of 3 mills instead of the fort giving you control of 2.
Right, exactly. So, but you also get all the cabins, and you also get the defender's advantage up there, So
yeah, I actually do want to see someone make use of the fort well enough that they can defend it. But I think it's just maybe too much of an area to lock down.
Well, it's like that artillery cannon.
Any of these teams can do it. Yeah, that artillery.
That artillery cannon we saw by Kalaru, though, like you were saying, if you would have put that on the high ground, like right on the edge of the fort, it would probably have been stronger. We'll see if anyone wants to go for something like that. Do you try to tailor your deck and say, I want to use artillery and barbed wire and balloons and stuff and try to hold the fort, or do you just say, I'm going to use more of a standard tried and true deck composition and just try to win, not really play based on the map so much, but just try to play my best game of Tooth and Tail? So we do see the artillery cannon from Iris here, aka Yope. And double tier 3 from Duhu.
Yeah, judging from what we've seen, double tier 3 isn't out of the question. Games do seem to go on quite a while in here.
All right, man, I'm hyped. Duhu and Iris, one of the strongest 2v2 combos versus 2 of the strongest individual Tooth and Tail players. On the left, we've got the team, the Splitters, looking for a Grand Finals victory, and their opponents on the right, who are not going to give it to them very easily, is Chip and Arbuz, representing Gentle Pork. So, let's see how these players want to open things up. Only Arbuz here with moles. So, like you were talking about at the beginning, we were worried about, double mole rushes and stuff, but we really haven't seen mole rushes at all. I can't count for the entire tournament because there's a lot of matches that we didn't see on the stream. But really, we only saw that one mole rush, and that was only one player doing it. So moles haven't been like super active here. I think they've been part of compositions, but nobody's been going like super heavy on them or anything.
Yeah, it's great we haven't seen anything that's really been exploited. It seems like these have just been straight up games of Tooth and Tail, and that's great to see.
Yeah.
But I expect if the game does come to, fighting here at the bottom or somewhere far inwards in the map, I bet Arbuz at some point is going to try to put some moles, do something sneaky on the back end. Because the travel distances pretty much everywhere here is going to be tough to go back and reinforce.
Yeah, for sure. So we see a quick expansion here coming down for Duhu. And is their team aware of it? I apologize, my spectating capabilities are a little bit worse now that my controller decided to flake out on me, but it doesn't look like they're aware of it yet. But now they're going to come in and see the scout, and Arbuz is going right for that fort, man. And I'm curious if he's going to try to leave these cabins up, because some of these cabins are in range of your pigs. You got to be careful which pigs you throw down if you're not going to eliminate any of those.
That's interesting. I fully expected the team with the artillery to try to get that fort first, but that's
True.
sort of the opposite here. Oh, and an early fox coming out from Yope.
And hasn't been scouted yet, but Chip is moving in for a scout. Is he going to be able to see the tier 3? It looks like he will be able to scout this, and that's absolutely crucial. I mean, it's a critical piece of information. Now, Chip knows what's happening. I mean, that scout was so big, I almost honestly wouldn't have been surprised to see Iris just sell it off, you know, because he scouted it like right when he saw it. But no, he's not going to go for any mind games. Iris is great at controlling the fox, and he's going to roll with it this game. Arba's using a MG to knock out that cabin. Very smart there, and throwing down some farms. Go ahead.
So what's Gentle Pork's response to this fox? It seems like Chip, as soon as he saw it, just went back, put a whole bunch of farms down. Zeno sort of did this way back when, is if you do catch a wind of an early tier 3, just build farms and then just defend it. And I think that's sort of what Chip's doing here, is that he's just hoping that, hey, you've committed to one large unit, I'm going to commit to more late game farms. And if I can hold you, well, that fox isn't going to be doing anything for you.
Yeah, it's a very calculated answer, in my opinion, and it does work very nicely. I mean, I'm kind of a one-base Fox player myself, and that's absolutely one of the best responses, especially when you get that incredibly early scout. Like, Chip scouted it maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds after it was thrown down, so being able to react that fast. And then now it doesn't matter if you're using squirrels. Wow. You know, squirrels are terrible against Fox, but when you have like 30 squirrels, you know, and even if the fox is constantly killing them off, your economy is just so much better. You kind of got that Zap Brannigan Futurama, you know, kind of style going on. Just throw numbers at them until they die. And here we go, big engagement coming in. Some proxy units here. It looks like Iris's fox spawned and was trying to get some work done on Arbuzz's expansion, but he had to pull it back to defend against this attack coming in from Chip and Arbuzz. The balloon's almost here as well. So getting very, very aggressive. I don't know, though, man. Yellow and blue have a lot of units here.
Yeah, this fox is going to have to do a ton of work. They got that balloon down. That's great. That's pretty much all they needed to do. And now they can take out these MGs fairly easy with the ferrets. And really, all Gentle Pork has is a bunch of tier 1 and 1 skunk. And that's just going to get picked off to the ton of... picked off by the fox. But... they have way more economy, so hopefully they can reinforce and just keep them back for them to stay alive, but this can be scary. Luckily, they have a ton of Warrens on the front lines to keep them alive for a little bit longer.
You know what's interesting is that response that Chip did to the fox, I wonder if that's not as good in 2v2 as it is in 1v1, because it was a little bit countered by the fact that Doohoo, you know, didn't mess around on his economy. He went up to a second base economy very quickly as well this game. So yeah, Iris had this one base fox thing, but his opponent, his teammate just has so many units to kind of even it out, you know. And that owl coming in and dying immediately, a little bit of miss micro from Arbuz there. That might have been the nail in the coffin as the splitters move forward and they're starting to get real damage done to the base of their opponents.
Yeah, Chip and Arbuz were hoping to... It seemed like they were on a mission. They took all the mills all the way up to the enemy's bases, and they were like, okay, they have a fox. What are they going to do about it? And I guess they had an answer. And their plan did not work out. Really, a big part was getting down that balloon, and now, as you said, losing that owl almost immediately. It's kind of an odd choice here. I feel like I would sell that for something else, but it seems like they're committed to that owl at this point.
Yeah, Arbuz actually had 2 Owl Warrens, so when he lost the one, he did sell that one Warren.
Oh.
Yeah, he was trying to go for double Owl, which would have been super good, especially against, like, Fox Ferret type of thing and Toads and such. But somehow, Gentle Pork stabilizes, and they're still in the match, and they've got the better economy, right? Because Arbuz, he's still got that gristmill up top, you know, rocking and rolling with a few farms, and... You know, Iris has been doing a lot of damage with this Ferret Fox style, but the clock's ticking, man. He's almost out of food here.
Yeah, this is sort of what we talked about before. You know, Chip getting all those farms early, you know, in response to the fox, and just holding. If you hold, then you're ahead at this point.
Right.
And now it's Yope and Doohoo that need to step back and get some farms up of their own, while now Chip and Arbuz are already good to go for the late game.
Yeah, this is deadly. Using that owl to deal with the cabin and fence, very nice, very smart, efficient. And this is, you know, if Arbuz can just kind of keep creeping up, man, throw another farm down, eventually afford another owl warren. Doohoo's got the Badger on the way, and that's exactly what his team needs. But Gentle Pork is going to come in for an engagement. I don't know, but there's so many units here. Wow, that's a beautiful concave, too.
I don't think they're going to be able to get this mill. The fox in the background is just picking off too many squirrels at once. Owl not doing as much as it should. So really just an army trade there. But that's great for Chip and Arbuz because they have the superior economy right now. Any trade is fine, but the superior technology on Yop and Doohoo's side at the moment.
All right, Chip moving forward yet again. Now they're going to get this second base from Iris, and that's definitely a critical blow. The ferrets are starting to drop as well. Man, I gotta
There's a Badger coming in.
Yeah, here's the Badger, though. Not a whole lot of pigeons to support it, but there are a few. And Doohoo's got great Badger control. He got the rev up, but he kind of lost it pretty quickly there. Man, I can't believe the swarm style from Chip and Arbuz is starting to work so nicely. And Doohoo has the best economy in the game with a whopping 4 farms. You know, everybody's so starved out here. You know, Chip tried to get that 6 o'clock base, but really I think he would have been better off, you know, maybe trying to take the gristmill. And I also think that the cabins themselves have been a little bit underutilized, you know? Like, why not just take a couple of those cabins, grab a campfire or two in this kind of situation? But every piece of food is so important. It's definitely a lot easier said than done.
We're going to need to see some crazy control from the Tier 3 players right now. It's just Mass Tier 1 versus Tier 3, and him bringing in the Badger, it getting revved up, and it's getting healed by the ton of pigeons in the back, and I don't think squirrels are very effective versus this, especially on the retreat. They're just getting hit from the back, and they're just sort of getting bled dry.
Yeah, the problem is, like, the Fox was one thing, because, you know, the army comp from Chip and Arbuz can't really deal with the Fox, but at the same time, the Fox is kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Well, the issue here is the Badger, because their army comp can't deal with this Badger. There's no snakes, there's no falcons, there's no units like that. And the Badger will definitely bludgeon your whole army of things like squirrels very, very quickly. Once it gets that
Do you
rev
think
up.
Arbuz should have given up on the Owl, like, way back when? Because I don't think it's done much in helping them, you know, move forward and winning this game. I think all these squirrels are just going to melt to the Tier 3 power here.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, maybe some snakes would have been better to try to get some stacks on that Badger.
Exactly.
But Chip and Arbuz have been doing a good job of, like, kind of engaging this army and then disengaging as soon as the Badger gets to rev up. But Arbuz is going to go for the base trade here. And Chip is, you know, if they realize this, go kill that other gristmill, Chip's dead. But Chip's only got a couple units left anyways. Really, Arbuz is the one with an army. Arbuz is looking to take out these gristmills and knock one of his opponents out. And now the splitters are on the retreat, trying to deal with Arbuz's YOLOing kind of base race thing here. Is he going to be able to do it in time, though, is the question. I don't think so.
No, I highly doubt it. It was smart for him to come back. The other team could have committed to a base trade, but I think it was smart to just come back, get rid of the army that he has, and then go finish them off after that.
Yeah.
Smart move.
I think it was the correct move by Gentle Pork here, even though it didn't really work, because they couldn't they couldn't engage their opponents, you know. So it's like, well, if we try to fight them head on, we're gonna lose. So I might as well try to do some kind of base racy thing, even though it probably won't work. I got a better chance of winning doing that, you know. Just these Tier 3 super friends here, man, just wrecking it. And you know what? This is for like a tiny Tier 3 comp, like Badger, Fox, and 3 pigeons. Like that's a force to be reckoned with, man.
Yeah, it's so scary. You know, as one player, it'd be tough to micro something like this, Fox and Badger, but you got 2 players.
That's true.
On both of them, that's great.
And Arbuz with the moles. I don't think he's got enough money, but style points for sure. I think he would have been better off like trying to hide it until all the moles built, you know?
Ouch.
because now the Fox is going to make short work of this. And that's going to be it for this game. I'm pretty sure we'll see the surrender from Gentle Pork here momentarily. But, oh, Iris is starving out. And he doesn't he has to sell his Fox to not die to starvation.
Oh my, I wonder if Chip and Arbuzz know this and they're just going to wait it out and maybe, because the only way for Yope to get his money back is to sell the Fox, and I don't think he's going to do that.
But this Badger just running around. Like, dude, this game is insane. Like, why are we still in this game? There's like 4 units. Wait, there's 5 units on the board between 4 players, and finally Chip and Arbuzz tap out. But what a close game, man. That was awesome. I'm super hyped for that. That was very impressive. I might have to clip that or something. Like, what a great start to the best of 5 grand finals here. Okay, so real quick before they ready up, let me change the map. Luckily, we already have the maps determined. All right, so we are going to the Pleasure of the Pork Prince for the second match here.
The Splitter is taking the first game here. Ooh.
I'm liking it, man.
I fully expect Gentle Pork to rally and make this a competitive set.
So I wonder
No doubt in my mind.
What do you think went wrong for Gentle Pork there? Do you think there was just a lack of respect for the Badger Fox? Did they think maybe they thought they would just run over him with tier 1? But I mean, you got to do something, you know? Like you cannot try to beat the Badger with pure squirrel.
Oh, there was totally a game plan there. We saw at that one point they were taking each mill and leapfrogging them up to the front of their bases, and they were thinking, okay, we have the Spirit Eco, we have the Spirit T1, we're just going to run over, the one Fox that you might have?
Right.
But that obviously ended up not happening because, as you said, Doohoo did have the economy there. Ooh, and we might have lost Doohoo.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Have you seen the same thing?
While we're waiting, man, just want to say thanks again to everybody participating, everybody watching. We got some great viewership here, so thanks to everybody for tuning in. I even see a bunch of old names in the chat, like Valeris, like Ghost FTW, Pickpocket, aka The Gentleman, of course. Great to see everybody here. Big shout out to Premium Bow, really the main tournament organizer here, keeping things running. Big shout out, of course, to you, Mr. AB Ultima, for doing this with me, man. It's always a pleasure casting with you. We gotta find an excuse to do it more often.
It's always fun, man. And I'll mention one more time for that last game. I really do think Arbuzz should have sold that owl sooner.
Yeah. Well, imagine if Arbuzz didn't goof though, and he didn't lose that first owl. Because then he would have had 2 owls out, and 2 owls is like twice as good as 1 owl. You know what I'm saying?
True. Huh. But I guess I'm wondering, at that point, you make that mistake, you have gone past the point of, okay, I know the owls are going to take way too long to actually make a difference in this game. Perhaps I should take a step back, get some tier 2s out instead.
Right.
Some snakes to potentially deal with, the badger pigeon.
They needed snakes there, man, because snakes are great against badger and fox. Kind of weird to say snakes are good against fox because the fox outranges and it has better speed than the snake, but if the snake can get like 1 or 2 shots of poison in on the fox, man, that's all it takes most of the time. And similarly with the badger, if you get several stacks of poison on the badger, it can help, knock it out as long as there's not an insane amount of pigeons. But really, I found the best answer to the badger, to be quite honest, like a good group of falcons. Like even like 4 falcons, they burst so fast. They can oftentimes kill that badger faster than the pigeons can heal it.
For sure. Not only that, they also, if you're miscontrolling the pigeons to the front of the army, the falcons just melt those as well. The one unit I have not seen yet, and tell me if there's a unit we also haven't seen, is no chameleons.
Yeah, we haven't seen chameleons this tournament, unfortunately. I think chameleons are considered a little bit weak in the current balance patch. Yeah, we just haven't seen the guys rocking it this time around. I think Illuminatus has been working on the next balance patch. We're kind of considering the changes that need to be made. I think the problem with the chameleon is that the moles just kind of do the chameleon's job better. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
In a weird way. Like, they're kind of this tanky, melee, bruisey unit on the front, and I think the problem there, balance-wise, is that the moles can beat the chameleons, like pound for pound food wise, which always favors the lower tier unit because the lower tier units can build faster, if that makes sense. Like it's more of a time commitment to try to get that chameleon back. So if 3 moles kill a chameleon, but the chameleon kills all 3 moles, that's a victory for the mole player, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. He's back. Awesome.
All right, guys. Doohoo is ready to go. A little bit of technical difficulties, but no worries there. The Splitter's up 1 map, and we're going to be going into the Pork Prince coming up next. And again, you know, we haven't seen players really try to go after all the cabins on this map. There is a lot of cabins on this map, especially in the area of the Pork Prince himself. Maybe the Pork Prince is just too scary, man, and nobody wants to get up near him and get eaten or something. I don't know. Alright guys, spawning in the bottom left, up 1 match this series, we've got the Splitters and their opponents to the top right. Really needing a victory here to even things out in the grand finals. We've got Gentle Pork.
So the first time today we're seeing the boar added to Arbuzz's deck.
Ooh, I love it. I think the board, I wouldn't go as far as to say boar is underrated at the moment. I think most players agree boar is actually pretty good. It's a little bit underutilized though, in my opinion. And you know, because we're in such a heavy tier 1 meta at the moment, because squirrel, lizard, toad, every tier 1 is great, right? Like squirrel, toad, mole is a fantastic composition. Some people even go with the lizard as well, just to have that flexibility to do counter attacks, to do flank attacks. And I also think that lizards are very strong against tier 2 in general. So you got the boar, it's just great against all that tier 1. But hold that thought, because Chip from space is opening up with a 5-farm snake. And this
Snake
is scouting.
Pigeon. This is scary here.
This is like some old school cheese openings for back in the day. You know, you've probably seen like snake and pigeon openings like around launch time. I mean, it never got like super popular, but it was a thing a little bit. And if you're a player like Chip with great control, you can kind of abuse those units and get a lot of value out of them.
Yeah, that was a hefty meta build. Like it was snake, skunk, pigeon into fox.
Yes.
And like you'd have so much staying power with the pigeons in the defense of the snake and skunk that you'd get the fox out without much damage being applied at all.
Here we go.
And, as long as the control is good here, this is gonna hurt a bit.
All right, so that should already be a couple squirrel kills, but Doohoo and Iris responded very nicely by just building a lot of tier 1 and kind of going for the strat that Chip and Arbuz were last game. Like, hey, you've got the tech, but I've just got so many units here. And one snake goes down.
And Yoke goes down, so he's going to lose these squirrels for nothing, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, losing that commander there, man. Dude, that's the one thing in Tooth and Tail that triggers me. I'm not going to lie, you guys. Like, when my commander dies to poison, like, especially in the early game, because your commander's health pool is so low. Like, those poison stacks will kill your commander pretty quickly.
Especially after playing a long game like that, you sort of forget, oh yeah, I'm back down at low HP. I can't really be in the fight as I was.
Well, it's one thing, like, if you're near your territory, the poison will go away pretty quick, but when you're out attacking like that, like Iris was, and, you know, your commander takes a couple punches just from random shots, you know, moving through, and then that snake gets a 1 or 2 stacks on you and finishes you off. But Chip and Arbuz in a really good spot this game. You know, after Iris lost his commander, they got a lot of free units there, a Warren going down, and Chip's control with these snakes has been very fantastic so far. Getting a lot of value. He lost 1 snake. He might lose another one here. Oh, he manages to keep it alive. Very nice. Very nice. Love to see a couple mines too, right? Because he keeps baiting them to chase the snake. He's got some a little bit in the middle of this high ground, but I'd like to see some a little bit more forward, you know, because you start chasing the snakes and then you run over the mines.
And it looks like the Splitter's response to this is to get a fox up, which I guess will keep the snakes at bay for now, but it looks like they're not even going to get the fox up in time because moles are coming out, and that's going to be hefty. I think they're just going to run down this this defense of the Splitters here.
Kind of that sorry mate, wrong path meme for Iris picking the fox here, because so much, like, this is definitely some one base all-in type stuff here. Constant aggression coming out from Chip and Arbuz, and if he gets this fox up, then great, but I'm to be honest, I'm surprised the decision to get the Fox, the 360 food missing from Iris, hasn't cost them the game. And here we go. It might, because the big attack is moving in from Gentle Pork. And absolutely slamming over their opponents. You know, Doohoo trying to get to second base. Iris trying to get that tier 3 Warren. While Chip and Arbuz are just going hardcore tier 1 with a little bit of tier 2. This is the kind of aggression that you'd expect to see out of guys like Chip and Arbuz.
A very strong build from them. They knew exactly what their game plan was, and they executed on it perfectly. I think, really, the Splitters' only response should have just been to build a ton of squirrels and pigeons and just hope to push them down in terms of numbers.
Yeah, they were just too greedy, in my opinion.
At this point.
I don't want to come down hard on the Splitters, but I feel like Gentle Pork just kind of outplayed them there. Like, the Splitters,
100%.
the Splitters knew what was happening. They knew that Arbuz and Chip were going to be very, very aggressive, and they still decided to go for the tier 3, go for the second base, which was just the wrong call to make. So the third match.
No, you're actually right, because there was that point where, you know, the squirrels were chasing the snake and they got one of them, and they sort of just set back and was like, okay, I guess we're just going to play a normal game here. And that is obviously not what happened.
Oh, you're right. I think that they must have just misinterpreted the situation. That's a very good point, because after they killed the snake, they're probably like, hey, we shut down the aggression. And then by the time that they saw, oh no, Chip and Arbuz just built Warrens right on the edge of that high ground, you know, they're coming in, it was too late. You know, what are you going to do, sell the Fox Warren when the Fox is almost done? You know what I mean? So, good decision making there from Chip and Arbuz. I think Iris and Doohoo just got a little bit of the wrong read of what was happening there, and we're tied up 1-1. Very nice showing from Gentle Pork, though. That looked very decisive to me. You know, like that was very clean the way they executed that attack.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that build again from them in a later game, because that was solid. It seemed like a build that they had practiced or discussed.
Okay, the players are all almost ready here. We're on Tournament Island this time, which is the macro map of the pool. And again, we're seeing that double tier 3, but hold that thought as we get into the game. Spotting in the bottom, we've got the Splitters. And their opponents up top, Gentle Pork. Okay, yeah, like you were saying earlier, Ultima, that I love this out of the Splitters. They say, hey, this is the big macro map. We're going to go double tier 3. So 4 tier 3 available for their team. And such good coordination here that they have the variety. You know, it's not like both players are running Fox or something. They've got 4 out of 5 of the tier 3s at their disposal.
Yeah, they can respond in any way at this point. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see what we saw similar to the first time we saw this map. You know, both teams went straight to their second base, and then 8 farmers on that, and then we just saw a tier 3 clash with, I don't know, not much happening. Hopefully we see something a bit more nuanced with these tier 3s.
You know, kind of interesting deck composition here from Arbuz, running 4 tier 1 on such a big map. I wonder if he didn't consider the map, or if he is kind of doing the meta play where, you know, you're not going to expect me to be very, very aggressive on a map like this.
Also interesting, this happened the last time we saw this map too. Each player got toads, and I'm not sure why the heavy reliance of toads on this map. Maybe are toads still a viable counter to, I guess, owl massing?
I mean, in the burst situation, yes, but over the long haul, obviously no, because you're trading free units for kamikaze units. But
yeah,
toads are just pretty solid for the tier 1 engagements. They do really nicely against moles and lizards, and even squirrels if they can get up on them. They're just kind of nice to have. You know, if you have an army comp like 12 squirrels, you know, 3 to 6 toads and like 6 moles, that's a very powerful composition. And quick tier 3 from Chip and a quick expansion, but the Splitters already took their expansions and are throwing their farms on there now, so you're gonna have a little bit of an economic lead, whereas Gentle Pork will have a bit of the tech lead. But Arbuz really going hard on those farms. Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait. This game is like a fine wine. We gotta give it a little time to age, you know, before we can really appreciate it, since the map is so big. And again, like, I'm curious what Arbuz is gonna go for here. You know, he's got that boar, which is very, very viable in my opinion. It can just tank so well, does some nice consistent damage, especially against tier 1, especially against things like mice. And owls and the like can be very effective against as well. Now we see the tier 3 coming down from the splitters in the form of the Badger, getting scouted by Arbuz. And let me see.
Looks like this is going to come down to the Owl Falcon versus Badger control. Also, Yope getting that wolf out to, I guess, speed up the Badger as well. So yeah, this is gonna come down to some crazy footsies between those two.
Yeah, Wolf Badger is gonna be super deadly, man, and I'm kind of in camp Wolf Badger over Boar Owl, to be honest. Like the Badger being buffed up is just gonna be able to chew through the mice very quickly and start DPSing down the Owl, and the Boar is nice, but the Boar is not gonna fare well against the Badger in a straight up engagement, you know. But you'd be surprised at the same time. Like the Boar can take out all those supporting units for the Badger pretty effectively, you know, and then the Badger's kind of more exposed, but so many tier 3 being placed down here from the splitters.
Yeah, we kind of don't know until we actually see the fight, you know. Essentially when it comes down to tier 3, it's really just a control, and Ship doing something interesting over here. Wow.
Yeah, I love it.
We talked about lizard run-bys, but owls run-bys?
I love it, man. Why not? Like, utilize these mice. There's not going to be a direct engagement for a while. I'm kind of curious why he took that Grismo, though.
Oh, man, and Yope's a little opposition. Do you think he's going to get it? Oh, I think he is.
Oh,
Maybe.
my lord. Oh, it's going to go down. Oh, is it, though?
Oh!
Is it, though? Oh, my God.
I mean, it did the job. It took out all the farms except one, but
Yeah.
That's actually huge here since it's such a high eco game. Losing 7 for essentially for free.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Look at Arbuz's composition. Toads Magodes, my man. So many toads. If Arbuz can get the right connection with that, it might lead them to victory. And Arbuz over here with the flank attacks with some mole shenanigans. And Chip is going to keep the harassment going on the sides. I think this is very smart thing to do, you know, since there's not a big direct engagement. You know, try to pick them apart from a bunch of different angles. And Doohoo and Iris realize this and say, we're not going to sit around and let Gentleport kind of poke at our bases. We're just going to force a big engagement. You know, Splitters have a very strong army comp here. In my opinion, it's looking better than Gentleport's, but I guess we're about to find out. But Arbuz needs to be careful to not engage 1v2, but he's going in there. Chip is not around, but Chip is destroying Iris's base on the back of this. These mice are just doing
random
work.
moles coming in from behind, but unfortunately just dying.
Oh my God!
But Chip's just mowing through these bases. They might have to go back.
Chip with some great control too. He left his owls down there, but moved the rest of his army to help out Arbuz. And Chip is gonna win this game. I can't believe he just knocked Iris out of the game when Iris still had that huge army. Absolutely barbaric here from Chip.
Wow. I wonder how calculated that play was.
Oh,
like,
that was so sick. Oh,
no.
sorry, I didn't think, like, I realized the Grismo was going down, but I don't know why I didn't calculate, like, that was just gonna knock Iris out immediately.
Yeah, I didn't notice until you said it too. Just sort of happened so suddenly.
Damn, very cool play. All right. Game number 4. No, don't ready up yet. No. Hang on.
Oh no. So that's 2-1 in favor of Gentle Pork. Chip and Arbuz.
Okay, so map number 4, we're going to Law and Order. And this is an important match. Iris and Doohoo really need to get a point on the board to go to game 5 here. I think they're totally capable of it, though, man. These teams look very, very evenly matched.
Yeah, all we need is just several micro decisions throughout the match, and they can pull it out. I mean, they're on the cusp of potentially just taking it there, but Chip, quickly just taking out the bases in the back with some owls. Unfortunately, couldn't do anything about that.
Oh, the stream is just now catching up. Oh, what's up, Seblo? Another old school name in the chat, and the Grand Wizode. Man, those are some old school guys. Cool to see people still tuning in. Here's where it happens. Iris just got knocked out. I love having the stream on delay because I get to watch like the replay.
Nice. Personal caster replays.
Right. Oh man, that was so clutch. Yeah, it just happened on the stream. It's so funny. All right, let me make sure they're not waiting on me or anything. Okay, yeah. Nope, I think they're just deciding on their strategy here. Run Law and Order, which is a very small, aggressive map. And here we go, guys. Up 2-1, looking to close it out and win the tournament on this map. We've got Gentle Pork on the left. And to the right, the Splitters, who really need a win here to stay in it and take this to match number 5. We've got the Splitters. Man, this is such a small
not surprised
map.
to see balloons and ferrets on both sides here.
Oh yeah, the balloons and ferrets. If you can get that middle ground and throw that, you have that like one tile, in your territory, that middle in the kind of near the water, and perfect to just throw down a balloon, Give you a lot of zone control there. But let's see how these players want to open. Yeah, 5 to 6 farm Warren. Oh, I like the split on this, where like one player went 6 farm Warren while the other player is shooting up to 8 farms to try to kind of be safe against early aggression, but keep the economy developing for your team at the same time.
Yeah, Tooth and Tail is all about making those decisions in 1v1 of like teetering between econ and army and then tempo. But with a teammate, you can sort of do both at the same time. So use what you got.
All right, a little bit of a early attack from Chip. Nicely done. Gets a pig for free. And he's thinking about it. He's thinking about keeping it going. But he's going to have to back out for now. Loses a squirrel, but still a great engagement there for Chip. And so far, just tier 1. Iris trying to get that second base up and running. But no real big decisions, I don't feel like, have been made yet. We see a campfire getting taken from both teams, a gristmill. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gentle Pork throw down a gristmill here shortly. And there we go. The Splitters throwing down their tier 2. Gonna try to get those ferrets and skunks up. And Chip getting his skunks, keep putting the pressure on the gristmill here.
I'm really surprised to see no lizards from any of the players here, considering what we saw in that one game. The run-bys can be very effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're just going to be seeing full frontal attacks with squirrels, it seems. Wow, losing campfires and mills on the side of Splitters.
I'm surprised this has been working so well. I guess it's because the Splitters both invested in that tier 2 while Chip and Arbuzz have been going hard on the tier 1, but Chip did get his own tier 2, Warren. It looked like the Splitters were just kind of out of position, like the momentum, of being able to dictate the engagements, really working out nicely there for Gentle Pork.
Yeah, luckily Doohoo decided to go for a skunk there, so he was able to push back the squirrel harassment. I fully expect Arbuzz, and Chip to go for a bit more pigeons at this point after seeing that. Builds are very similar here from both sides, actually. But I think the point that might be an issue is that Arbuzz and Chip don't have ferrets, and no balloons up for either of them, so they're going to have a tough time holding back this attack.
Yeah, the Splitters were able to put together a better army composition, but Chip trying to do it again, man. Trying to go in there and knock Iris out. But Iris does have that 3 o'clock base just to prevent that kind of thing from happening again to him. But a good job from Gentle Pork to try to split that up, because as it stood, it was looking very, very nice on that engagement from the splitters.
Yeah, this is what I mentioned I wanted to see, is fighting on two fronts, you know, going 1v1 technically in the game. And that's what we're seeing here. Like, the superior army of Chip is going up against Yellow and winning at the moment. Now we got to make a choice of going to help your teammate or potentially using your own farms. Yeah, some decisions need to be made. Because, yeah, Yop is going down here. Like, is he going to come save his guy?
Yeah, but Doohoo's at the bottom kind of dealing with Arbuz, and yeah, Chip is pushing forward. You know, the second that Doohoo tries to come up here and help Iris deal with Chip, though, you know, that's when Arbuz is going to start coming in on blue and dealing all that damage. And Chip has gotten so much work done. Iris only has a couple ferrets left. He's basically out of this game. Meanwhile, Doohoo and Arbuz have been scrapping in the bottom, but, you know, Doohoo hasn't really dealt any effective damage to Arbuz, you know. They've just been kind of, you know, trading blows back and forth, and this is looking real bad for the Splitters. They're trying to sneak out some tier 3. That's where they're comfortable. They want to get those strong, cost-effective units to try to abuse, but Chip and Arbuz are two in your face for that, man. They're not going to sit around and just let you get up the composition that you want.
Yeah, I think just the matchup compositions have just been not good in the 1v1 here. In the case of Doohoo and Arbuz, it was a bunch of squirrels versus only a handful of skunks, and they just don't put down enough smoke to deal with all of them. And then you have squirrels and skunks versus ferrets, and, you know, the squirrels and skunks will just win that out as well. So I think it's just, I mean, together they would have been a great combo for the Splitters, but split up, ironically, they're are not the best combo. But hey, Doohoo has a badger. Let's see what that does.
I've been trying to not point out the irony, but since you just did it, it is pretty funny that Gentle Pork is beating the Splitters by splitting them here. Like, it's really the story of this game, because the Splitters opened this up trying to rush some tier 2 units, and you know, they kind of took a little bit of damage in the early game, but they kind of stabilized, and they had this very, very strong tier 2 army, you know, when Chip and Arbuz were still basically on tier 1, but Chip and Arbuz have just been playing this so well, you know, forcing the Splitters to split up and not being able to utilize their full potential. But hold that thought, somehow the Splitters were able to get their tier 3 out in this game. The Badger is down doing some work. The Fox is here trying to stay alive against Chip, but Chip is moving forward and trying to cheese Doohoo out of the game by just killing the Gristmill, but Doohoo does have that campfire. I don't know, man. The Splitters are starting to turn this around.
This is sort of what we've seen time and time again. It comes down to the mass tier 1 of one team versus just the control of tier 3 on the other. And I think Yop and Doohoo are going to clutch this out simply because they have the superior tech here.
You got to really hand it to them, though, for being able to survive through that onslaught and somehow still afford tier 3s, you know. I'll look at games like this. It's almost like that situation on Pork Prince where they tried to do this, but they just kind of got ran over by it. But this time they got away with it. They got their tier 3s out, and they're going to use them to basically win the game here. I mean, nice. Oh, Chip is going to knock.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
if he take out to this camp, he's going to lose the blue army.
Oh!
Oh my god. No way. That's unbelievable.
Dude, all Chip.
But, I mean, now it's a 1v1.
And I think Iris.
But here's the thing, Yop has the Fox, and just Chip has so few units. Great play from Chip, but still, I think Yop is going to pull this out with that Fox.
Yeah, it's not just that he has a Fox. Like, he's got a Fox, he's got more squirrels, he's got some ferrets. Like,
he's got everything.
He's got an army here, and Chip did some great maneuvering and tried to do the same thing to Iris, and almost like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like, I would have got away with it if it weren't for you pesky kids. And, you know, Iris just had that 3 o'clock base, and somehow, man, what a close game. All these games have been awesome. But I'm super hyped that we get to go to the last match in the best of 5. And
I've never seen an army drop like that. He was all the way up at 100% and then dropped to 0 in a split second.
We're on uneven grounds for the last map. I can't believe Chip did that. Like, that was nuts. They still lost the game, but
great heads up play though.
Yeah, gotta respect the effort there. It's kind of like the game on Desert Fort, you know, where Arbuz was trying to do the runaround. Nicely done. I mean, that's so much value for killing one Grismo, man.
A badger, bunch of squirrels, and pigeons. One campfire.
All right, guys, this is it. This is the last map of the tournament. Whoever wins this wins the whole thing. And the winner will receive a $20 Steam gift card each, courtesy of ToothAndTailTV. And the bragging rights to be the Tooth and Tail champions until another tournament comes along. Okay.
Dude, what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing snakes from Chip and pigeons from Arbuz, so I wonder if we're going to see that build again.
Now, this is uneven ground, so this is that map that was kind of abusable with the natural expansions kind of within spitting distance of each other, but this map isn't so crazy. This map almost seems like an organic Tooth and Tail map, you know, or that it could just kind of popped up like this. So, you know, playing a standard straight-up game and not worrying too much about really tailoring your deck to the specific map is probably the best idea here. Interesting, we see the barbed wire from Iris. But other than that, the picks seem fairly what we'd expect. I mean, Arba's going with a lot of the tier 1. And that's really kind of standard. Like, Squirrel Toad, Mole Pigeon is just so strong. It's definitely a good composition if you're willing to have 4 units in that tier 1 slot.
And that makes complete sense for this map. Those rush distances.
Somebody in chat named Scooby-Doo is trying to... Did someone say my name? That's hilarious. Alright, guys, on the left, we've got Gentle Pork, and their opponents to the right, the Splitters. And this is it, man. This is for all the marbles. Kind of a decent map to do
I
this
feel
on.
like... A decent map to do what on?
I was saying, just kind of a decent map for the last match. You know, it's not really gimmicky or anything like that. You know, it just kind of feels like a regular Tooth and Tail map almost.
Oh yeah, seems like a very appropriate map to end on. Even though it may be a bit small, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous for the Splitters if they go for early ferrets because of the short rush distances. I think if Chip and Arbuz see T2s coming out, they're gonna commit to a lot of tier 1 and probably just run them over. So I hope I don't see that happen here.
I love.
Oh, look at that! There it is.
I was about to
There's
say.
the snake.
I'd love to see them do the same strategy from Pork Prince here, because I feel like that was their best build, and it really punishes what the Splitters want to do, right? The Splitters have shown time and time again they want to get out that Badger and a Fox. They know how to use those units. They know how to win the game with it. And I think Chip and Arba's best bet is to say, no, we're not taking the game like that. We are going to be so aggressive. You know, either the game is going to end immediately or we're going to get into some weird, scrappy situation.
I think this is the correct response. Mass Squirrel, and then just outmass them.
Right.
I think if they control well, I think they can win this. I'd like to see some added pigeons though to help out, keep the squirrels a little bit upped. The first snake coming in.
Yeah, this is a lot of squirrels here, like you're saying. I don't know if this is gonna work this time around. The rush distance is so short. The snake is gonna get chased home, but the Splitter's backing off for now, and now the snake is gonna get the value on the, you know, poking down the units that are trying to retreat. Getting this war in here is huge, absolutely huge in this phase of the game on less than 8 farm economies. Big victory there for Gentle Pork. Attacks continuing. That time nicely deflected. Arba's trying to grab that Gristmill. I'm thinking maybe to throw down a turret or two.
You know, it's interesting. In that first game we saw this build, Arba's, or at least one of them, had Boar in their lineup. And I think that's a thought process, knowing that, oh, they're going to go Mass Squirrel like they're doing now, so they'd get the Boar out to potentially deal with that.
Right.
But now that isn't an option. So I think if they continually do the Mass Squirrel, I don't think they're in too bad of a spot.
Man, the Splitters really committed on that fight. They really wanted to kill both snakes. One of them went down. The other snake lived, though. And now this counterattack from Gentle Pork is getting a lot of damage done. The snake does go down, but another snake on the way. And I think the Splitters might have over committed on that last attack, to be honest, because they were looking like they were in the better spot.
Right.
And Now the momentum's just on Gentle Pork here. Getting
Yeah,
back
and
down to farms.
Yop only has 2 Warrens as well, and farms are going down.
Yeah, this is looking tough, man. This might be a quick ending to the series, or to the tournament, I should say. We'll have to see. Maybe
It was great to see them bring this build back out. You know,
Yeah.
I fully expected it, and it's works out very well in 2v2. Yeah,
Yeah,
and who goes down, the other one falls suit. Dang.
very nicely done. A short and sweet, aggressive game, and I think that style kind of played into Chip and Arbuz's strengths, and also tried to exploit the weaknesses in their opponent's strategy. So very cool, man. Very, very cool. So the winner is Gentle Pork. So congratulations to the winning team. Thanks again, everybody, for participating in it and tuning, participating in all ways, being a player, just tuning in live, watching the VOD a week from now. Of course, Ultima here casting with me, Premium Bow in the background doing tournament organization. Big shout out to Kalaru, Illuminatus, 20 XP, and Premium Bow for making maps for the tournament. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, everyone coming together with this one. Map makers, casters, streamers, TOs. Very excellent event. Well put together.
So, talk a little bit more about your game again, man. Before we end this thing, plug it up and feel free to link in the chat.
Oh yeah, if anyone's interested in getting in some alpha testing for a game I've been working on for a few years, head on over to my Discord, and I posted that there. And follow me on Twitter.
Can you guys?
Are we doing a interview?
Yeah. Let me see if they can join this. Okay, they can't. So hop over to General. What's up, Arbuz? What's up, Chip?
Oh, God.
Congratulations on your tournament victories here.
Thank you.
How are you? Okay, tell me
It happened.
Tell me how you feel about the custom maps, man. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think maybe custom maps, but not these ones, or these maps were pretty good, or what'd you think?
There is some good ideas. Actually, I like them much more than I expected. I thought it's going to be much worse, but some maps there is some issues, in my opinion. But it's not as big as I imagined when I first saw previews.
Which was your favorite map to play on? Which one do you guys think was the best map?
Allow and Order.
I really liked Uneven Ground. It's very aggressive. It's more one-basey. That's how I like to play, at least, as you know.
Yeah.
And then you can do the snake shenanigans and just kind of go in. And if they don't have the right response at the right time, or they aren't expecting it, then you kind of just win.
Dude, that tournament island victory, Chip, that was so barbaric, and I loved it. I was not expecting you to like knock Iris out of the game for some reason when you took that Grismo. Me and if you were like, "What the hell just happened?" Like, this is so insane.
Yeah, I went for the first run by with the owl, and then I was going for the second one, and then Arbuz was like, "Oh, they're both here." I'm like, "If you hold them, I can kill one of them."
Dude, that was so awesome. Kind of similar thing happened on Law and Order as well, where Doohoo got knocked out, right?
No, neither of them got knocked out.
Well,
I mean, towards the end, but at that point, I was already dead.
Yeah, Iris ended up cleaning it up. It was kind of cool. I think you guys, especially that last game, correctly identified that the splitters were really trying to get out that Fox and Badger because it's just a really good composition. They have great control with it, and I think that was a really smart decision on that last map to really do that one base play and say, I mean, you guys could kind of infer like they probably want to get the Badger and Fox again, so let's not let it get there,
Yeah, that's what we said in the last game. After they lost that really hard, we said one of them probably sold and got a T3. So let's hurry up and kill them.
It's not even the combination of Fox and Badger. It's just Badger at this point, really. Fox is still good, but it doesn't carry game as much as Badger.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, the Fox, if you don't have an answer for the Fox, it's going to sit there and do some paper cuts or something. But if you don't have the answer for the Badger, it's just going to wreck your whole army very, very quickly.
Pretty much.
I mean, that was... Go ahead.
I want you guys to tell me about your snake pigeon build that you did in the first game and in that last one. Have you guys labbed that one out? Is that a special 2v2 strat you guys have, or was that a map specific build?
Oh, that's just one of my builds, and Arba said I can add pigeons to that, and I said that's pretty cool, and then we did it.
It is very old build with Chip would like to do with one snake, one pigeon on 5 farms. It was a lot of clone fiestas back in the beta days, I think, with that build. But the problem was, like, you stuck on 5 farms. But in 2v2, one can get pigeons, so the snake player can get pigs, so you're not stuck in this position anymore.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, very well thought out. Well done.
You could do things like one player goes 5 farm snake and the other one gets 8 farm economy, you know what I mean? So it's like we're doing something aggressive, but we're not necessarily like all into the strategy or anything. So there's a lot of cool stuff in 2v2 that kind of happens like that. Like we were talking about on Desert Fort, when you scouted the Fox Warren chip, like right when it got basically right when it got deployed, you did like the 1v1 answer to that, which is, you know, take like 8 more farms. And we were thinking, like, you know, I wonder if that necessarily is the right answer in 2v2, because Doohoo kind of kept his economy going while Iris was one base foxing, you know what I mean? So that economic advantage it didn't quite... but at the same time, I think you guys were in a pretty good spot on Desert Fort, but the...
It was a proper decision. I just lost now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Arba's moved out. It was so sad. He's like, I've got Owl out. And then 2 seconds later, I hear, oh! And then I see no Owl. I'm like, huh.
Dude, that Owl was alive for like 5 seconds, man. That was very unfortunate for you. But y'all almost came back. It was pretty close.
He said, I got this.
Do you believe that was a lost game at that point, or do you think you could have potentially sold the one owl that you had and gone to a different tech route, or what do you think was the option if you had to change it?
He was making another owl. The problem was we had no more map control, so they could just keep expanding. So the plan was to hopefully catch him out, get the balloon to get one shot, follow really hard, because we don't have snakes or anything to really kind of force it to go away or kill it. So we kind of just want to push it to their side, kill economy, and then run back to our side.
That's awesome. Well,
Gotcha.
you guys wanted a 2v2 tournament, man. We had it. Did you guys enjoy it overall? I mean, I think it was cool. We kind of did that you know, basic style tournament, nothing crazy, no bans or anything like that. But we had the custom maps. But overall, I don't think the custom maps were too crazy. You know. I think we had some pretty good games on them.
I thought I was very afraid about the Desert Fort, because of this fort expansion, but actually it's not as bad as I imagined. The only issue in Desert Fort, I think, is that corner campfire which shoots your units if you rally.
Yeah, we saw that on a couple maps. One thing I thought was really interesting about the maps was like it was symmetrical team by team, but not player by player. So one player on the team, you know, you guys would kind of have to decide, okay, who gets the easy natural and who's going to have to kind of get the natural we got to fight for, you know? Sweet. You got anything else, Ultima, or?
No, congrats you two. Fully expected you guys. I think this is your second or third win? As a team?
What you count.
I think, yeah, there's too many to count, I think.
Yeah. Don't forget, though, that one win that LOL Steamroll and I had over you guys way back when.
Okay, guys.
Don't
you remember that spawn with the mountain in between us? And you guys were like, wow, that's pretty good. That was some bull, dude. And you both know it. They're like, let's meme these guys.
Oh, man. Dude, well, I had a blast. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. Congratulations. I'll give me a few minutes to catch my breath after the stream, and I'll coordinate with you guys about your prizes. So, yeah.
give me Arbuzz's money.
Oh yeah, is that how it'll work? No, I'm just gonna give Arbuzz your money now.
Got
So
him.
sad.
Sweet.
Chip is going to be poor.
I am a poor child.
You don't need a lot of money in junior high though, so it's okay.
I have no income, so I mean, this is.
So
I've
technically,
got to steal
you are
Arbuzz's
poor.
money.
That's very true.
He's pro gamer. This is the only income he has.
You know what? You did just make money from competing in a video game, so technically you're a pro gamer now, right? Just a very, very low income one.
Very, very minor.
It feels good. I can say I've had that under my belt once. I won a League of Legends tournament at University of Florida, and we got like $20. But I was like, yep, I can check that off on my list, man. I officially won money from video games. It's a good feeling as a competitive nerd.
Dude, it honestly is. You get your first $5, even though it's $5. You're like, I beat so many people for $5.
Oh yeah,
I'll do that. I'll do it again.
I've put in 600 hours into this game for $5.
How do you think I feel with Tooth and Tail? Come on.
All right.
Well, actually, I've run a lot more in Tooth and Tail. Oh well.
Yeah, that's true. You've won several things in Tooth and Tail, and there's more coming up. I think Tooth and Tail League should be starting back up here shortly, and I'm sure somebody else in the tournament will get some event or something organized here in the near future. So, congratulations on your win, guys. Yeah, that's all I got, man. Any last words, Mr. Ultima, for our tournament winners?
Nah, we'll let these dudes get some rest. Let you get yourself ready to hand out some monies. And yeah, thanks again for having me. It was a great time.
Sweet. Well, all right, everybody. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Again, thanks everybody. Thanks all the players. Thanks everybody tuned in who watches this later on in the VOD. Thanks to all the map makers. Thanks for Premium Bow for keeping things moving. Everything moved very nicely. We didn't have any hookups besides Jed Erickson's intentional memery there. So wag of the finger for that. But other than that, it was a great event, man. Thanks everybody for being a part of it. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess that's it. I want to do a raid. I see somebody streaming Tooth and Tail, but like, I'm on a 2-minute delay, so I don't know how that works. Like, how do you raid on a delay? Can you?
Give it to Zeno and say, "Where's the Zeno Cup?"
Yeah, we should just raid him with like 40 people and go harass him about Xeno Cup. I'm down.
He said he's gonna do it eventually. So it is gonna happen, and there is gonna be $500 pool eventually for Tooth and Tail
In 2019? Dang, dude.
2019. Molsham Warrens 2019.
Well, all
All
right,
right, guys, it's been fun. I'm gonna head out.
Take care, man. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds. I'm gonna wrap the stream up, and I will talk to you all later. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Goodbye.